You too, Greg.
All right, thank you very much, Lee. It is the 9 till noon show. Our Friday panel joining us very shortly. But let's get a news update. Say good morning now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The cost of rebuilding a house in the northwest has increased by 26% in the past year. According to latest figures from the Society of Chartered Surveyors of Ireland, to rebuild an average-sized 3-bed semi-detached property in the region will now cost €201,000, up €55,000 from last year. The SCSI, however, says the latest figures do not relate to mica-affected properties. It says the cost differences are down to the redress scheme being based on pre-2007 regulations and standards, and that it does not take into account replacing foundations and cost inflation. Michael Doherty, PRO of the Mica Action Group, says costings in the defective concrete block scheme must be revisited.
We shouldn't be messing about with pre-2007 15-year-old specifications on a brand new house at a time when energy costs never were higher, at a time when Europe and the rest of the world are saying, what can we do to build our homes in a way that has the lowest possible carbon footprint? And yet we have a government here and a department here in the Department of Housing hell-bent in keeping us back in the Stone Ages, keeping us back at the most expensive forms of heating.
French students looking to study in Ireland should be extra vigilant not to get scammed when looking for somewhere to stay. That's according to the French Embassy in Ireland, which says an acute shortage of accommodation has led to scammers taking advantage of struggling students. It's also warned there's a severe shortage of housing here nationwide, and rents are now more expensive than Paris, even for shared properties. A note on the Embassy website also lists a number of information sources for prospective renters, including the Residential Tenancies Board and various social media groups. Donegal County Council has published what it's describing as an ambitious and creative regeneration strategy and action plan for Dunloe Town Centre. The council says it is a regeneration-focused roadmap of key priorities and actions for the sustainable regeneration of the area to 2040 and beyond. The strategy has been widely welcomed, but Councillor Mary Therese Gallagher says the council must now commit to having full-time staff deployed to work on developing concrete plans to ensure the strategy's goals are realised.
It is transformative for the town. However, we have to get into the detail. What we're looking at here is a new town park, the regeneration of the main street of Dunloe, and also connecting the Bay Walk to the River Walk here in Dunloe. We have to put the resources in place now to get it from a strategy into a document that's going for planning. We need to get Part 8 planning, and then we have to go for rural regeneration funding.
Weather now cloudy with scattered showers today, mostly clearing to good sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 14 to 17 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
In Ireland, we love our sport. But whatever the game, there are things we'd all love to change.
I'd make the pitch smaller.
But if you're a person from a disadvantaged or underrepresented group, changing the game can mean something very different.
I want to be judged on my performance, not on who I am.
Sport Ireland is working to make everyone feel more included. Find out how we're changing the game at sportireland.ie/sport for all.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It is 4 minutes past 9 on this Friday the 16th of September 2022, and you're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show. I'll be introducing our Friday panel to you very shortly. We'll be running through some of the bigger issues making the headlines today and this week. We want you involved in that conversation as well, of course. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts to that number. If you want to watch proceedings, get to our website highlandradio.com and you can see our guests and the show there. Same could be said for YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, and across our Facebook pages. Feel free to comment in those spaces as well. All right, let's say good morning to our panel now. Good morning first to Dr. Kieran O'Farry, who's a GP, of course. Good morning, Kieran. How are you keeping?
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to have you with us. Professor Pat O'Connor, Professor of Sociology and Social Policy at Limerick University. Good morning, Professor. And you're a bit low there, Pat, unfortunately. I'm sure you'll be able to resolve that for us. And also Eamon McGee, former intercounty footballer, columnist as well. Good morning, Eamon. How are you keeping?
Morning, Greg. How's the form?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'll stay with you, Eamon, because the Taoiseach has indicated that he's open to the possibility of former Taoiseach Bertie Ahern being readmitted to the Fianna Fáil party. Many in Fianna Fáil believe his return should come ahead of the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement next year, given his role in brokering it. In 2012, the Mahon Tribunal found that Bertie Ahern, while not judged corrupt, had received money from developers, and the tribunal disbelieved his explanations of those payments. Fianna Fáil proposed to expel politicians censored by the tribunal, but Ahern resigned from the party prior to the expulsion motion being moved. So, you don't strike me as a Fianna Fáil voter. I'm open to correction on that one, Eamon McGee. But
back in the day, Greg, I would have been.
All right.
Think, you had to do what your dad voted for now. So
yeah, do you think that's changed a bit now?
Oh, 100%. It's changed 100% now. It's gone completely. People are actually having independent thoughts now, and they have their own opinions. And you don't definitely be far from a Fianna Fáil voter now.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so what do you think? Or maybe you don't care.
I actually do care. And we should all care in terms of the fact that Bertie Ahern is mooted for a comeback, because that's the reason why politicians continue to let us down, because we make it so easy for them. Bertie Ahern has never once seemed contrite or, put his hands up and said he's done wrong. And, an educated monkey would know that Bertie Ahern has been in the wrong, and he's dodged and he's danced around the whole thing. And we've got to make our standards really, really high for our politicians. When you look across the Atlantic and you see some of the nonsense, and even when you look across the water in terms of Britain, and you see some of the nonsense that goes on there, and that's because the standards haven't been set high, and the level of debate and the issues that are being raised, and that's why Bertie should go nowhere near a Fianna Fáil are serious about anything in terms of getting back into a strong position in the country. So they shouldn't even entertain the thought. Bertie Ahern, I'm sure, and he comes across as a good guy, a man that you would sit and have a wee pint with and enjoy the crack. But in terms of a politician, in terms of the standards we want to get to, I wouldn't.
So do you think with that in mind then, and I suppose with people being more thinking more individually and what have you, that it would be Fianna Fáil would be shooting themselves in the foot, that they wouldn't be reading the room well, that it would reflect bad on the party then to be seen to welcome Bertie Ahern back into the fold?
I would think that, I would like to hope that's the case, in terms of if he was put out to in a vote, that the voters would respond. But we've seen in the history that that's not necessarily the case, and it shows a kind of thing. We've talked an awful lot. I've listened to your show there a few weeks, and there's a disconnect, this word disconnect from the politicians to us on the ground. And that seems to be a case of that there. Listen, we'll throw Bertie, we'll try and get Bertie, because he was touted there, I think, was it a few years ago? We need to get Bertie back, and the response wasn't great. So put him in hiding now for another while, and this comes out again. And it just shows you that there is a disconnect there. We can talk all about it, and they just continually show it.
Yeah, all right. Professor O'Connor, hopefully I can hear you now.
Is this any better?
No, but I'll tell you what I might do. I might kick you out and then bring you back in, and we'll see if it improves. How's that? Okay, thank you. It's just you sound just a little distant. I'll put the question to you whilst we wait for Pat O'Connor to rejoin us. Kieran, what's your views?
Yeah, I suppose to me, there's a little bit of irrelevance to a disgraced former politician being brought back into a political party. And in one way, it shows that Fianna Fáil are focusing on the past and history, and instead of focusing on what the people want politicians to focus on now, policy and issues and government. And I think it really does show a disconnect between the party and maybe what they think people want and what people on the ground actually want. And as Eamon has said, politics has totally changed in this country now from, back in 10, 20 years ago, people followed their parents along a political party line. People now want to choose political party based on their values and their policies and what they're going to do. And if this is the best that Fianna Fáil can offer, I suppose there's no reason that they're lagging in the polls.
But if you want to recognise the contribution someone like Bertie Ahern made to the peace process, and I don't mean this as any sort of an attack on Fianna Fáil, you bring him back in when you're at your lowest ebb, don't you? I mean, I can't imagine Fianna Fáil's support dropping much lower than it is now in the mid-teens. So if you are going to bring him back in, well, now's the time to do it, isn't it? Rather than sort of, in government, start of a new term, riding high in the polls, because the damage would be much greater then.
True, but I suppose for the common person out there, I think it has very little relevance whether Bertie Ahern is in the Fianna Fáil party or outside the Fianna Fáil party. What he's done and the findings of the Mahon Tribunal is still there. People's judgment is still there, and I don't think that has changed. And obviously, if there's going to be commemorations of the Good Friday Agreement, he's going to be part of that. Whether he's within or outside the party, and I don't think it'll really make much of a difference to politics in Ireland or to the voters out there.
All right, Pat, can you hear me now, or can I hear you? No, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can. You're very, very faint there. If you could just pump up your output, if that's okay on your mic. For some reason, it's lower. No, unfortunately, Pat, that's just not going to work for us. We'll put you out and bring you back in again and try one more time. Normally, we never have a problem with Pat's connection. This disconnect that Eamon mentioned there, it's issue after issue, Kieran. And also Eamon talked about, we'll bring Eamon back in on the conversation too, about accountability and, looking west to America or looking east to Britain. Do we just really have to accept that there's not much accountability in politics anywhere, really? I mean, we expect it, but I don't think the politicians have caught up with our expectations.
I think, when you do compare us to other countries and you look at politics in America and in the UK, I think in some ways we've got quite a high standard of politics here in this country at the minute, and we've got a pretty robust opposition party which are holding our government to account. And our government, we've seen with recent controversies regarding Robert Troy, although, I suppose it's frustrating for us watching things drag on for a week or two. There does seem to be.
The only thing, just with the Robert Troy thing, the only consequence for him was the full support of his party and the party leader. Let's not forget, 3 days ago they did a walk around a housing project, and Mr. Troy was shoulder to shoulder with Micheál Martin, and he resigned his junior ministry. That was the only sanction that he incurred. Other than that, it's just business as usual.
I suppose, the real sanction will come from the people at the next election, and the people will have to decide whether they think he's worthy to be in politics or not. So at the end of the day, the power lies with us, the voters, and it's important that we look at our standard and look at our politicians and make sure that the people that we're voting in are people that hold a high standard and make sure that they run political office the way we want. So at the end of the day, it's up to us.
Yeah, but we don't vote like that because we vote on a local level, and people can say what they like about Robert Troy, but he's probably, held in very, very high regard locally, and he'll probably sail through. Eamon?
He will more than likely that he will, in terms of, at the end of the day, we choose who we want to represent us. And I would argue that we don't necessarily always get it right. If you look to the people of Tipperary, I'm not sure what electoral region now, but Michael Lowry seems to cruise in all the time, and we all know the crack with Lowry. So I would argue that we don't always get it right in terms of locally. We probably we'll probably have to take a look at ourselves. We had a councillor on an RT programme, pretty prominent on it, and he went and topped the poll. So I think, locally we would have to have a look at it ourselves in terms of, you know, what kind of politicians, what kind of politics do we want, and who do we want to represent us?
All right, okay. We'll be back with much more from our guests, and hopefully Professor Pat O'Connor, because I'm chomping at the bit to hear what she's got to say about this one. We'll take a quick break. Stay with us.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Do you need to switch your current account or loan? We are now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features and competitive rate switcher loans.
On this week's Business Matters, I'll be joined by Joe Gibson, owner of J. Gibson Promotions and fiddle player with Sailor Bill. So join me, Kieran O'Donnell, for Business Matters on Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news. The Business Matters podcast is also available to download at highlandradio.com.
Business Matters in association with the ATU Donegal Faculty of Business. Realise your potential by enrolling on the part-time degree in business. Only 3 years with just 1 evening per week on campus. Open up your future by calling 9186206 or visit lyit.ie today.
You might think you know the wild Atlantic way, but maybe it's time for a closer look. Stand tall at the towering edge of the world and discover adventure, rugged and wild. Leap from the mainland with an escape to Valentia Island, or take a bite out of sparkling city life in Galway before finding sanctuary among the wilderness of Wild Neffin Ballycroy National Park. The Wild Atlantic Way, yours to explore. Keep discovering at discoverireland.ie.
At GMG Stone, we have special end-of-season offers on decorative stone, garden paving, slabs and artificial grass. Treat your garden to a final makeover this summer. Call into GMG Stone beside Donaghy Motorhomes on the Port Road. But hurry, offers only while stocks last. GMG Stone, just what your garden needs.
Free inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, your essential guide to the ploughing. Our bumper magazine has everything you need, including exhibitor listings, site map, event programs, plus directions on how to get there and where to park. Don't miss your free guide to the ploughing inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
See the great new collection of AquaClean suites now at McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. AquaClean is a unique fabric treatment that allows you to clean stains using only water, and these Irish-made suites can be made to measure. Also see McGinley's huge range of corner groups, recliners and leather suites. Transform your house into the home of your dreams at McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Link Road, Letterkenny, and at mcginleysfurniture.com.
Okay, Professor O'Connor, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, good to hear you. Really is. Okay, so your views. I know you've been waiting to jump in there. What's your opinion?
Well, I'm actually in agreement with Eamon and Kieran in the sense that, yes, I think this is not a clever idea. It does suggest one of two things. One, that Fianna Fáil has still not understood the whole nature of dodgy financial arrangements and possible corruption, and they still don't see it as an issue. Or secondly, they feel that the win of the Good Friday Agreement, that they need to be in on that, and Bertie Ahern is their best chance. But I completely agree that it shows a total disregard for what could only be seen as possible financial corruption and taking the electorate for fools, really.
Yes, indeed, though that was not found against Mr. Ahern in the Mahon Tribunal. That being said, okay, I think, can you recognise Bertie Ahern's important role in brokering the Good Friday Agreement? And has, do we not have a system whereby you can be rehabilitated? Has he not served enough punishment for whatever was found against him in the tribunal? I mean, is that not a good message for young people as well, that you serve your time and you can come back?
Absolutely, but I agree with Eamon on this, that he has never apologised. All these ridiculous explanations as to why a Minister for Finance would have money in his wardrobe, horses, etc., etc. Like, it was ridiculous. And if he had come out and said, yes, he made, even the cliche, an error of judgment, right? If he showed any recognition that he had behaved inappropriately and had, if also possible, made some gestures in the direction of either basically undoing the harm, either at a financial or at a social level, then yes, no problem. But he has never given any indication that he saw what he did as wrong. And that is the key problem. But Fianna Fáil doesn't seem to get that. They see it as kind of, time has passed.
Yeah, but can I say, I think I think individually they do get it, Pat, because I've noticed politicians, and to some extent, I can only presume the motivation, say, for instance, for Minister Charlie McConalogue yesterday, they're not saying they're against it, okay, but at the same time, they're also not saying, except for Senator Niall Blaney, a lot of them aren't saying, yes, he should be welcomed back into the party. In other words, they're open to it, but they don't maybe necessarily want to be directly associated with saying we should do it.
Well, possibly, but certainly this feeling, that he's a sinner and we need to be, every saint is a sinner and every sinner is a saint. All this kind of language that I just heard on the news before I came on. I mean, in a way, it is based on the assumption that you recognise what you've done as wrong. And there's no evidence that either Bertie Ahern or anybody else seems to do that. Now, I completely agree with you. He has played a very important role in Northern Ireland, and I see no problem in recognising that. But actually, clouding the issue, what he has done should be recognised, but equally the fact that he has not admitted that he made that these lunatic tales, that these were really, not credible. That there has been no indication, if you want to think in Catholic terms, of, a recognition of wrong. And how can he be readmitted if the party, it doesn't get that at some level?
And I mean, if the Nobel Peace Prize isn't enough recognition for him, what is? I'm sure. Being
and I would challenge. Sorry, Greg. I would challenge you on terms of the tribunal didn't definitively find against him. I would say to any young person that possibly wouldn't have been around is to even Google the Mahon Tribunal and the findings and what.
But just in relation to that, Eamon, from a legal perspective, the tribunal did not find him corrupt.
Yes,
now we can go into the ins and outs.
But I would say to any young person
that particular word.
And I get where you're coming from, but I would say to read that, and the inconsistencies and whatnot, and illegally or whatever they didn't, but. I know what you're getting at.
And there's a lot in there, a lot in there in terms of. Anyway, right, okay. Listen, this is an obvious one that I have to bring in here, but the problem with this also is very obvious in that, I'm contacted personally by people, often older people, who are literally scared stiff to switch on the lights or to plug in a heater because of the cost of electricity, and they fear it's going to get worse and worse and worse, and it is going to get worse and worse and worse. So I have to mention the fact that this morning profits were announced at the ESB, and they've grown 50% in the 6 months to the end of June. The reports published by the company this morning show profits for the financial period, excluding exceptional items, amounted to 248.8 million, which was up from 167.4 million during the same period last year. The group recorded revenues of almost 3.7 billion, which were up from almost 2.2 billion the year before. I'll start with you, Kieran, if that's all right. People struggling, people actually in fuel poverty, and those who will end up in fuel poverty, to hear these type of profits being announced, it is just insult to real injury, Kieran.
Yeah, it does. It seems disgusting to see the people that are obviously charging us more for our energy, making more profit. It just seems unbelievable, really. And, we hear that prices are going up because it's costing them more. How is it that they're making more profit? I heard on the radio this morning some explanation that their generation arm is separate to their supply arm so that they can't intermingle the two issues. But to me, that doesn't add up. And but
that was just soft. If we're talking about the same interview, it was such a soft interview. It was like, well, what about this situation? You're making a fortune. People can't afford power. Input cost Europe. Blah 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 blah. We're very happy with these results. that deserves far greater scrutiny, and I think the public deserve far greater scrutiny from the head of the ESB as to how this can be and how this can be justified. To talk about investing in what? Renewable energies, whereby it's electricity production with incredibly low input costs, and they're guaranteed the same price per kilowatt because it's coupled with the price people pay for oil and gas generated electricity. That deserves a half an hour interview of great scrutiny, not some sort of, oh, well, moving on to the next question.
Yeah, this is money that should be in people's pockets, not in the company's pockets. And, as you said, people are really struggling, and they're going to struggle more over the winter months. And we have to find some mechanism to make sure that these companies aren't making more profits based on the misery and the struggling of people out there. Obviously, there's a difficulty with certain companies, and we've seen in the last month 2 companies leave the Irish market. So I suppose there's ins and outs there that might be difficult, but at the end of the day, when you can see a company increasing their profit so much, that's just wrong. And we saw yesterday Patagonia in America showing a little bit of a social conscience, and a company giving away a lot of money, and he spoke about the need for a change in how big companies get richer, and people get richer and other people get poorer, and this comes back to, I suppose, how we organise our society and how we make sure that the rich don't get richer and the poor get poorer.
But that's unfortunately in a crisis, a financial crisis, that's precisely what happens. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And Professor O'Connor, at the end of the day, there has to be a better explanation of this, because what's going to happen now is, and I've said it before in the programme, but they're borrowing our money off us. We're borrowing our money off us to pay down some of our bills, right? Which maintains the profits of the likes of the ESB, but we have to pay it back, and our children have to pay it back at much higher rates over time. And it actually insulates their profits because they can charge whatever they like. And we know a new range of price increases are coming in the week after the budget, which will cancel out the money the government's taken off us to give back to us. And we were promised that the privatisation of electricity would mean, because it wasn't as profitable back then, it would mean more competition and cheaper electricity. But now we have companies making record profits and we're paying record prices for electricity. I mean, unravel all of that for me.
Well, I can't. It makes no sense. And I mean, it was captured by a cartoon in the Times, which showed the lunacy of the whole thing. The government is giving us a certain amount so we can pay our ESB bills, but we basically then it's a circle, repeat, except the customer loses out all the time. I completely agree with you on the soft interview. It just isn't good enough. It makes no sense. I'm afraid I can offer no light apart from fury.
I mean, it's worthy of a freedom of information as to what was agreed before that interview. In my opinion, I think we're at that point now whereby we need to know if there was an agreement between RTE and the head of the ESB as to what questions would be asked and if those questions would be pursued in terms of what answers were given. Eamon, you, me, everyone on this call, and I'm sure everyone listening to this now, all of a sudden we're so acutely aware of every single electrical item in the house, whether we want to or not, because we're fearful of how much of our limited incomes in many cases are going to be eaten up by, rising costs. And at the same time, we have a company, a half-year profits of €250 million.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you now. It makes no sense in terms of the economics. I can offer no great insight into terms of how that I just can't get my head around it. The fact that, we're being conscious of how many times we're going to use the electric shower, how many times we're going to put on the kettle, what lights we're going to leave on, and then the company that's supplying this is making record profits. So I'm struggling to connect the dots there now, and it just, the only thing it's just immoral in my view, and it just we should be making a lot more noise about it in terms of, and I think that's what we'll see come, when these bills start creeping in again, and, people start looking. I read an interview last week about a woman, and she was a businesswoman, and she just seen her bill and she just started crying. And and that's the reality of it. Like, luckily, we're in a fortunate enough position. We'll be conscious of it, and there'll be sacrifices to be made. But overall, we'll hopefully come out the other side of it. But there's other people that won't, in terms of their businesses, and there's people, residents that will, have to put on an extra pair of clothes for the winter because they just can't put on the oil, or they can't put on the electric heater or whatever, and that for me is just not acceptable. And I think we'll see that come the winter months and possibly the other side of next year, in terms of people will be on the streets. And if it keeps going, and the level of rage starts to come to the surface, I think we might see something similar to the water charges. And the way to diffuse that is to give a tough interview for RT to say what's the story here, not to be giving them a soft touch like what you touched on there.
Ask him even just a simple question: is it morally okay for you to come on and announce these type of profits when there are people that are sitting with no power today? Do you know what I mean? Is it morally right? You know what I mean? But just even something simple like that. So he would have to directly answer if he believed that is the case, and if he doesn't believe it's morally right, well, then what are you going to do about it? If you believe it is morally right, well, then explain how it can be morally right. But it's just,
maybe there's nuances here. Maybe it's not a black and white issue, that in terms of the whole energy model and the economics of it, like that.
Explain that then, yeah.
And explain that and say, this is the reason for it. This is the reason we're able to announce profits, and try and diffuse that, because there's so much simmering beneath the surface here in terms of the whole societal thing and the money issue coming up to this winter. And
see, what really worries me, Dr. Kieran Alferry, is that amongst all of the noise of what's been said on the radio, what we're saying here, there are people listening to this program today, and it's not 2 or 3 people, but even maybe of a particular generation, okay, who would be so fearful because maybe they're on a state pension, okay, and they're seeing the costs go up, that they will sit in a cold house all day, that they actually will sit in a cold house. In fact, I think my father, if he was still with us now, if I went over to his house this morning, I'd say most of the power would be off and the heating would be off. And maybe there wouldn't be it wouldn't be completely logical. I'm not, what you are, but he probably would, because he would be so fearful of a bill of $2,000 landing, right? Because that's the fear that's out there. And I think there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people of all age groups. Don't get me wrong, but particularly older, vulnerable people that will be sitting in the dark with no heat on today because they're so afraid of what is to come.
I think that's a real fear, and there is a lot of coverage about this. People are hearing about these businesses with their massive bills, and people are afraid. And something I hear in my work every day, the worries and the stresses and the anxieties that people have. And I have noticed over the last number of months that the financial worries has crept in more and more as a concern for people, and an underlying worry that people have. And as you say, older people on fixed incomes, fixed pensions, they are going to worry, and they're the people that you'd have to worry are going to be sitting at home in the cold and the dark. And there's a long winter ahead, and it is a concern for everybody. In some ways, the more we talk about it, the more we add fear into people's lives, which in some way isn't good, but we also have to make people aware of it, so that there is as much energy conservation out there as there can be, so that people don't get these big bills and these shocks.
And maybe there is a responsibility then on the likes of this program, because when we talk about average bills, right, they talk about average bills could hit 6,000. Well, maybe we need to make sure that we're having a more nuanced conversation where we talk about, well, what is the potential bill for a 2-bedroom bungalow versus a 4-bedroom larger house, and that's something maybe we can work on.
I think, and maybe differentiating a little bit between different types of energy, because obviously we've seen the massive increases in electricity rates recently, but there has been a fall over the last month or two in petrol and oil prices. So obviously here in Donegal, most people heat their homes using either solid fuel or oil, as opposed to electricity and gas. So those nuances need to be, I suppose, considered and conveyed to people as well.
Yeah, and the fear might also be that if they decide to use turf, they could be arrested for that. Go ahead, Pat.
But also, I mean, we need to think in terms of the budget and the government's initiative in basically taxing excess profits. That needs to be one of the possible planks that people can agitate around.
Yeah, and in terms of how much that would draw in, I mean, we can't tax Shell's profits because they're an international company; they don't pay their tax here. But I think it would, if we could see the likes of the ESB or others. But then they'll talk about the fact that they've invested €532 million in infrastructure, and they can't do that and they've paid the government €1.2 billion over the last 3 years. You know yourself, it'll all get figures will be thrown about, Pat, and it'll never happen.
Well, but in a way, we can see the profits. We can see in the case of the ESB that there is a case for basically leveraging off this profits. This is a critical moment. The government needs to take what action it can on local issues.
All right, stay right where you are. We are in the company of Professor Pat O'Connor, Dr. Kieran O'Farry, and also Eamon McGee. More from our guests and your calls and comments after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
New this week in Home Store and More. All clothes errors are half price. But better hurry, because when all the half-price clothes errors are gone, they're gone. Also, all mattress toppers and all stools and chairs are still half price. But when all the half-price mattress toppers and all the half-price stools and chairs are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Some people spend 60 minutes watching TV, and some head out for a 10k run. Just like retirement, 60 minutes means different things to different people. At Bank of Ireland, we're all about your financial well-being, and 60 minutes is all it takes to start a pension that can make your retirement lifestyle achievable. Now's the time to fund your future. Book a phone or virtual meeting today at bankofireland.com/pensions. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Revenue limits, terms and conditions apply. Bank of Ireland is a tied agent of New Ireland Assurance Company plc, trading as Bank of Ireland Life for life assurance and pensions business. Members of Bank of Ireland Group. Bank of Ireland trading as Bank of Ireland Insurance and Investments is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Book a private VIP screening at Century Cinemas. Perfect for celebrating birthdays and special occasions. Featuring a private VIP screening with luxury reclining seating, delicious popcorn and a brilliant choice of movies. For further information on our VIP packages, call Century Complex Letterkenny on 07491 21976 or visit centurycinemas.ie.
Crawford Tiles Castlefin. Bathroom yard sale starts Thursday the 15th to Saturday the 17th of September. Be quick or you'll miss out on bargains galore. Toilets, vanity units, wet room screens, shower cubicles and more. In-store 15% off all bathware. Remember, 3 days only. Miss it, miss out. Telephone 91 43942.
There's never been a better time to go full Lidl. Let's hear it from our customers.
No matter what they want, there's something in the fridge. We discovered stuff that made our dinner special. They'd go, you didn't buy your meat in Lidl this week, did you buy it somewhere else? Yeah. Whereas now there's no point in me going anywhere else. It's Lidl. That's what they want.
Go on, go full Lidl today.
Okay, some of your comments. Why is Eamon McGee giving out about Fianna Fáil when he's involved with the party organising charity events? Is that, I don't know what that's about, Eamon.
No.
Okay. Well, that's enough said.
Charity events now. Jeez, I would organise charity events for anybody.
I think so. I wouldn't care what party it was. Myself personally, if it's for charity. ESB is semi-state owned. It's the government that should be taking the flak for this, says the caller. Wholesale markets dictate the price of electricity. The ESB can't help that. They therefore make more money off their wind farms when natural gas prices are high. If you want them to make less profits, then you have to change how the wholesale markets operate, perhaps by adding a price cap to renewable generators. That comes in from Ben. Like to see a published list of the shareholders of the power companies. How many of our politicians have vested interest in them? In fact, actually later on today I was thinking of going through the declaration of interests to see how many might be. Is there any groups formed that we can go out to protest? My bill has gone up dramatically. Another Duns has been turning off most of their lights to save on fuel. It's so dark. We'll need torches to do the shopping. Well, I suppose they're doing the responsible thing. I mean, there is an opportunity if people want to get out in the streets on the 24th down in Dublin. Eamon, do you think people will be motivated? Are we at the point where enough people will go down and protest in Dublin? I mean, I think rather foolishly but understandably, there's sort of satellite protests taking place around the country, which will mean the Dublin protest will be probably, 10, 15,000 if they're lucky, maybe double that, I don't know. But still 30, 40,000 would not be enough to influence the government. Do you think maybe this march on the 24th is a missed opportunity or maybe too soon?
I think, and that's my own personal opinion, I think maybe it's a bit too soon. I think, there has to be a wee bit more organisation. And if you look at the Mica protest before it and look at the water protest before it, that took a while to get going. And, once they organised and once they got together and started to draw the big crowds and become more, rather than scattered, become more internalised, and that's when they started making a heads turn, and I think we'll get to that point.
Yeah, Pat O'Connor. I mean, it kind of looks a wee bit like a people before profit protest coming up on the 24th. Loads of other groups claiming it as well. I just think that it had a lot of potential, but I just think it's going to be a damp squib. I'm open. Like, I may well be very wrong, but that's how it's feeling to me.
No, I think it's too early. Basically, people's bills haven't started to come in. We still aren't really into the winter. People still are just getting back to a routine after the summer. It's just too early.
Okay, Kieran?
Yeah, I suppose, as everybody said there, nobody feels like it's going to make a significant difference. And, the energy price increases in electricity are starting in October for most companies. So it's going to be another month or two before people really see the impact of those and really feel, I suppose, the anger that they're going to feel when they see their bills go up.
Yeah, a caller says, I think Fianna Fáil is lining Bertie Ahern up for president. That comes in from Kathleen and Bert. I think that ship has sailed. Kieran, can you envisage a scenario where he is president of Ireland?
I can't see it. I think even this discussion here today shows that he's a long way away from that. And, a presidential election is a popularity contest. And I think there's no doubt out there that he doesn't have that level of popularity.
What do you think, Pat, though, if he were to go in front of the people? And, I mean, even Eamon says he seems like a nice guy to go out. He could potentially be a nice guy to go for a pint with. Maybe if it was on a public vote?
No, I don't think so. I think, well, some people at least have woken up to the fact that nice guys to go for a pint with aren't always entirely useful as basically, political figures. They can be a little bit problematic. And I'm obviously thinking of our near neighbour and Mr. Boris there. And so nice guy to go for a pint with Grant. But I think there is the Fianna Fáil they haven't understood the issue. I'm back to this. They think he delivered on Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is really key. Yes, it is. It's his ticket to the park. But this is, as the others have said, they're out of touch, and Fianna Fáil vote has been falling. So there aren't that many people who are going to kind of, just because he's on the ticket, are going to vote for him anyway.
There's a lot of good people in Fianna Fáil in terms of the talent wise for his politicians, and they don't need to be going back to the tried and tested and the old ways. Listen and invest in a bit of that talent that's within the party and move on.
It's possible that Micheál Martin is kind of trying to... Micheál Martin is also a nice man, and I do think he's honest and decent, and he's trying to, in a way, he was the person who pushed Bertie to walk the plank way back, and so he's trying to tidy up things in a humane way before he steps down as Taoiseach, and all that is understandable.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there is a strategy. All of this is being discussed around about now because there are people with influence in the party that believe now is the right time to discuss it. This hasn't come out of like a bolt out of the blue.
Yes, but I do think that Micheál Martin is trying to, do the good thing, the nice thing as he sees it, sort out the past, and at a personal level show he has no animosity to Bertie, even though he did push him out, recognise his contribution to the North. But this is at a personal level. The key issue is public trust, and that's, I think, where they haven't got it.
Yeah, okay. a recent study showed, now I'm not sure how wide-ranging it was or how much it even might vary from 5 years ago. 7 out of 10 young people would consider emigration. I'll stay with you, Pat, on this one. I mean, I don't know how many, if you asked, when there wasn't a housing crisis or whatever, how many would say that. I think a lot of young people have an ambition to emigrate. Whether they feel they're compelled to, I think might have been a better question. Do you feel you'll have to emigrate? I think that might be more reflective of the environment that we're living in. But do you think we are in a cycle again already of young people looking at their options and they see a better life for themselves outside of Ireland? Are we going to lose another generation to emigration?
Well, this is the National Youth Council study, and I looked it up and I got a bit of information on it. It's 18 to 24-year-olds, and it is true, of course, that we're coming out of COVID. And 4 in 10 said they weren't as happy as they were 6 months ago. Well, in a way, that's very understandable. 1 in 2 reported worse mental health. Now, what was also very interesting was that the actual National Youth Council report made in its recommendations, it made no reference to improving the mental health services. But I think, of course, I have feelings this is back to the 1980s, which I remember, and last out, turn out the light. But I do think that the situation as regards accommodation and students is appalling. But I want to take a step back and say there are 2 underlying issues, I think, beneath this this current study and this current issue. And one of them is around higher education, and the second one is around the feeling that young people are not feeling valued in our society. In the case of higher education, and I do think that the extension, the way apprenticeships are being now included in the CAO is positive, but an awful lot of young people are going to higher education who really shouldn't be going, right? They're not really interested in ideas. They're going because it's the cool thing to do, etc., etc. They are monumentally unhappy there. We know that from levels of mental illness, drug abuse, alcoholism, a third of female students being raped. This is not a good scene. A huge level of non-attendance at lectures, even before COVID, which is kind of one of the unstated problems that higher education institutions don't like coming out and saying. So really, a lot of people, young people, are going to higher education and are monumentally unhappy right there. And really, this is part of the problem.
So why are they there then?
Exactly.
No, I'm asking. Yes, no.
And their home pressure, and their parents want them to do better than the parents did, etc., etc. The second issue, and I'm going to make a radical suggestion as to what can help on the second issue. Second issue is that young people feel they're not valued. And in a way, they're quite right. They spend 4 years getting an undergraduate degree, even if they even if they spent a further 3 to 5 years getting a PhD, for example, roughly half of them are on contracts of less than 12 months. Like, in a way, getting out of the yellow pack jobs is really hard. It was always hard. It's even harder now. And so, in a way, it seems to me, this is now a totally radical idea, but I wonder whether, when young people graduated, as part of their condition of going to higher education, they had to agree that they'd give 2 or 3 years to basically be part of the institutional structure of society. So if they're doing medicine, they're 2 or 3 years in the medical service. If they're doing social work, in teaching, wherever, right? And they're paid, but it gives them a stake, and it might actually help to shake up what I see as the very arthritic structures.
But that was floated previously when we were talking about retention and what have you, and a lot of people thought, well, their education's been subsidised, they need to pay it back. You're framing it slightly different, but the outcome would be the same. But it didn't get any traction previously. I wonder would it now. Let me bring bring the others in, and we can come back to you, Pat. Eamon McGee, as I say, I don't know in ordinary circumstances, whatever that is, how many young people would consider emigration. I think, how many feel they would need to emigrate, or how many would want to. I remember it was a Donegal minister at the time, when we were talking about emigration at the last recession, says, well, young people want to travel anyway, that, it's nothing to do with what's happening in the country. But anyway, Eamon, what's your views?
I'm always, from a personal perspective, I've travelled, and no, I haven't travelled as much as I'd like now. But there's no place in terms of America, the Middle East, or whatever, Europe. There's no place like home. So I'm always going to go on the side that Ireland is a great place to be. And sometimes when we are giving out a bit of stuff in terms of politics, prices, and it's good to give out of it, but let's not paint a picture that this is a banana republic or anything of the sort. Like, this is a great country to live when you go around and look around the world. It's a great place to be. And I think we should be. There's a drive on now for remote workers to come to Donegal, and that's a good thing now. So when I see something like this, I think there's a bit of the grass is always greener for the young people, and it's at the same time, it's not a black and white issue. There's people, in terms of the nurses, in terms of, doctors or whatever, that are generally seem to be better off in another country because the system has failed them so much here in terms of the HSE. So you can't just look at it like young people, put them into one category. There's different categories within them young people, and some cases they are better off, and some cases they're just saying, the grass is greener on the other side.
Maybe the media too. I think the media has an awful lot of a role to play in this, in setting sort of a. I just think maybe we all need to sort of try and be a bit more
social
balanced
media,
in this.
maybe more so than the media, in terms of social media, the black and whiteness of social media, where Ireland is just this archaic country, and the system is just ready to fall
either
apart.
heaven or a kip. Yep, I get you.
Yes.
Yep.
And you get the PR side, and then the government saying this is a great place, and we're sitting somewhere in the middle. We have to strive to be better, and we have to strive to make our politics better and the system is better. But it's not as bad as some, if you read through Twitter or Facebook about this, some of the nonsense that's been said.
And the tiniest little situations are amplified massively on social media. People latch onto something. Now, I'm not referencing the real problems that we have in terms of housing and student accommodation. I'm on about other little things like division and all that kind of stuff. Kieran O'Farry, what's your view?
Yeah, I think, as Eamon said, the grass is always greener for lots of people, and it doesn't always work out that way. Obviously, it is an issue in certain professions. They can get a better quality of life, less stressful working conditions overseas. But in terms of accommodation and issues like that, obviously in Dublin and the big cities, that's far more of an issue. And how we can attract more and more young people to come to the regions, to stay in Donegal, to live in Donegal. We've got a vibrant town here in Kenny, but if you look at restaurants and coffee shops, we've in some ways limited options, and very few new places opening up, and more places closing down. So it's obviously not easy for those businesses to get going here, and that then makes the place probably less attractive for young people to stay and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, the only thing is, I was in London recently, and I was lucky enough to go to a few other places where there's huge Irish populations, and they hang around with Irish people. They get involved in Irish activities, be it GEA, even if they're not interested in football or whatever. I mean, some are and some are great, don't get me wrong. They even secure plots of land to plough and farm, especially those that maybe have got children wherever they are and are finding it difficult to return home. If you want to hear about Ireland and how great it is, often, Pat, you have to go and speak to communities of Irish elsewhere that really all they want to do is come home and live at home, just like Eamon has said.
Yes, well, I spent 10 years in London, so I do know the two sides of it. But I suppose, I also really wonder, if you look at students, mostly they don't even stay on their campus areas for weekends. They go home, you know, to to their parents' house for the weekends, right? So they can't. I mean, partly this may be financial, but also it is emotional, and that makes me wonder about the extent to which this 7 out of 10, considering moving abroad, to what extent is this just a kind of a pipe dream? Do you know? Realistically, they're not going to be able to be coming home.
Actually, and one question on that, Eamon, I just wonder. I'm not having to go at anyone, right? But I wonder how equipped more recent generations are actually to relocate to another country. Us parents can be sort of accused maybe of mollycoddling and, you know, still feeding them at 21.
I get you.
I just wonder.
Go on.
I'm not saying. I just wonder if
you're saying what I'm thinking now in terms of the privileged generation.
Yeah, I just wonder: are they equipped to actually deal with going into the big bad world on their own, cooking for themselves? You know.
I think we're very. The more I see this next generation, the more impressed. You know, when you surface.
I know I'm bad cop now, and you're a good cop.
The surface thing, and I would agree to 100%. But the more, you know, when you interact with these young people, they are kind of they're switched on, and they're a lot more. When I was 20, you know, you could hardly tie your shoelaces without getting into some handling. And I see this new generation. I think they're going to be better than we ever will. And you know, we've got to just give them a chance now. So
do you agree, Pat?
Well, I'm just wondering, the asset question is, are they still bringing home their washing for their mother to do at the weekend, right? And are they still filling up the bag?
Yeah, but you know, some of us would still be doing that.
Oh God, not the girls.
I don't want to take on whites. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God, this is Neanderthal. I mean, the girls are generally more competent, but that's for me the defining question, you know. And are they in turn filling up their bags with home cooked food from the fridge, right?
They are, yeah. So a lot of them are.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, this is all not viable in terms of if you're going to be living in, you know, Warsaw.
All right, Kieran, last same thing to you. I mean, what do you think?
I suppose on the serious side of it, it does show that there's a level of unhappiness out there amongst young people and a level of fear. And if you look at the reasons behind it, accommodation and cost of living were the main things mentioned. And I suppose that it goes across all sections.
Yeah, and a lot of young people had to grow up fast through a pandemic, remote learning, not associating with their friends, straight into college, then a housing crisis, then, you know, so, yeah, indeed. Listen, Dr. Kieran O'Farry, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, take care of yourself. Professor Pat O'Connor, thank you so much. Lovely to see you again. See you soon.
Thank you.
And Eamon McGee, any views finally, very briefly, next Donegal manager?
I was nearly out the door there before he asked. No, I don't know. I think we just
could we have a scenario where we have a pundit managing the Donegal team and a former manager being a pundit opining on the pundit managing the Donegal team? Could we have that scenario?
You probably could now, but I don't think the two of them mixed. If you're going to be involved with the Donegal management, you've got to be cut the ties with your media lads, and close up shop now. But no, I think we just got to trust the process. What we are seeing now, and you know, plenty of people were shouting for change last summer, and you know, it's a very hard job. It's big boots to fill. It's a big responsibility. So, you know, these people shouting for change this is a learning process for them. That is not necessarily, you know, you've got to realize what you're asking for here. So, no, I trust the lads are involved in the process, and they'll get the answer right. And you know, there's plenty of good people in Donegal GA, and plenty trying to get them involved now.
I mean, obviously it's about teams now and management, but is there an individual you'd like to see at the helm, or to sort of finally have a go at it?
There's a lot of individuals that I would love to see, and you know, I'm not going to necessarily start naming them here now. It's not fair on them, but some of them just aren't at the stage in their lives where they can commit, you know, with jobs, with family, and that some of them, you know, are involved in other parts, and other projects, so to say. And you know, that's just we would love this ideal world where certain individuals get involved, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. And I think, just got to go back to it. There's good people involved in Donegal County Board, and they'll get it right.
All right. Trust the process. Thanks very much.
Process.
Okay, Eamon McGee. We're going to take a very quick break. The news is going to be a minute and a half late. My apologies.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Sabrina Robb here from Donegal Hearing Clinic. If you're struggling to hear everyday conversations or find it difficult to understand people in a crowded room, you may have hearing loss. Problems like these are common, and we're used to helping people resolve them. We offer hearing assessments and will discuss your options. You can call us on 074 91 88 470 or visit donegalhearingclinic.ie. Life sounds brilliant with Donegal Hearing Clinic, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Want unbeatable value from Sky? Here's the deal. Get Sky Broadband for just €29 a month, plus Sky Q for only €10 a month. Super fast, super reliable broadband. And Sky Q with your apps and recordings. That's Sky Broadband for €29 a month, plus Sky Q for €10 a month for 12 months. Now that is unbeatable value. Go to sky.ie. Availability subject to location. Offer does not include Sky TV subscription. New Sky customers only. Setup fees, minimum term and further terms apply. For more info, see sky.ie/speeds.
It's where you live. It's where you relax. It's where you make memories. Treat your home to a visit to Cooney's Home Interiors. We have everything in store to help recreate your home. Choose from our extensive range of suites, tables, beds, mattresses and home furnishings for every room. Cooney's Home Interiors, Letterkenny. Style and perfection at incredible value.
Mega laptop sale now on at Curry's. Save €80 on the 14-inch HP laptop, now $399. Or get the 15.6-inch HP laptop, now $699. Save €80. And get a one-for-all gift card up to €150 when you buy selected laptops. Get in store or online at currys.ie. T's and C's apply.
At Abbott, a global healthcare company, we are dedicated to helping people live more fully while providing our employees the opportunity to build a career with a purpose and live their own best lives. Now you can join us to shape the future of diabetes care in our Donegal location. 1 in 10 people around the world live with diabetes, and our operations in Donegal will help people worldwide manage their health more effectively and comfortably. We are looking for engineering, quality, medical device manufacturing and other science-based professionals that want to be part of this exciting opportunity. Make your next career move today by visiting jobs.abbott.com/Donegal or visit us on Facebook or LinkedIn. Abbott, we build careers and change lives too.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 2 minutes past 10. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. A Donegal councillor has labelled as disgusting the revelation that ESB made operating profits of €357 million in the first 6 months of the year. Councillor Jack Murray says in the months ahead people will be forced to choose between heating their homes and eating due to high energy costs. He says the sensible and moral thing for the government to do would be to cap energy prices. Councillor Murray says ordinary people need to be protected.
Reassure people, reassure businesses that they'll be able to open the doors, to be able to survive the winter. And it shouldn't be our money is heading into the obscene coffers of some of the wealthiest people in the world. That's just morally wrong to me, and I think it is sensible and appropriate and proper that we put a cap in place and protect those ordinary people who are so worried right now.
The chair of the Dáil's spending watchdog says he's hugely concerned that the cost of building the National Children's Hospital has already topped €1 billion. It was originally estimated at $800 million, but the Public Accounts Committee has been told 3/4 of the construction budget has already been spent. That's despite another 18 months to go on the project at St James's Hospital in Dublin. The chair of the Public Accounts Committee is Deputy Brian Stanley.
We're now going over the 1 billion mark, and here we are, 2.5, 3 years left to go. I'm hugely concerned about it. It's one that the Public Accounts Committee have tried to keep a handle on. We have called in the board of the hospital. We have called in the HSE and the department on it. We will be continuing with that.
The cost of rebuilding a house in the northwest has increased by 26% in the past year, according to latest figures from the Society of Chartered Surveyors of Ireland. To rebuild an average-sized 3-bed semi-detached property in the region will now cost $201,000. That's up $55,000 on last year. The SSCSI The SCSI, however, says the latest figures do not relate to mica-affected properties. It says the cost differences are down to the redress scheme being based on pre-2007 regulations and standards, and the scheme does not take that into account, replacing foundations and cost inflation. Michael Doherty, the PRO of the Mica Action Group, says costings in the defective block concrete scheme must now be revisited.
We shouldn't be messing about with pre-2007 15-year-old specifications on a brand new house at a time when energy costs never were higher, at a time when Europe and the rest of the world are saying, what can we do to build our homes in a way that has the lowest possible carbon footprint, and yet we have a government here and a department here in the Department of Housing hell-bent in keeping us back in the Stone Ages, keeping us back at the most expensive forms of heating.
And Donegal County Council has published what it's describing as an ambitious and creative regeneration strategy and action plan for Dunloe Town Centre. The council says its regeneration-focused roadmap of key priorities and actions for the sustainable regeneration of the area to 2040 and beyond. The strategy has been widely welcomed, but local councillor Mary-Trace Gallagher says the council must now commit to having full-time staff deployed to work on developing concrete plans to ensure that the strategy's goals are realised.
It is transformative for the town. However, we have to get into the detail. What we're looking at here is a new town park, the regeneration of the main street of Dunloe, and also connecting the Bay Walk to the River Walk here in Dunloe. We have to put the resources in place now to get it from a strategy into a document that's going for planning. We need to get Part 8 planning, and then we have to go for rural regeneration funding.
Cloudy with scattered showers today. They'll mostly clear to good sunny spells in the afternoon. Just a chance of a few further light showers developing over the course of the afternoon. Top temperatures today 14 to 17 degrees Celsius in a moderate northerly breeze. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Good morning.
The obituary notice is for this Friday morning, September the 16th. The death has taken place of Brendan Boyle, Erity Manor, Cunningham. Brendan's remains will repose at his late residence today from 12 noon until 10 o'clock and tomorrow from 12 noon until 10 o'clock. Rosary both nights at 9 o'clock. Removal from there on Sunday morning at 11:15, going to St Columbus Church, Dromahal for 12 noon Requiem Mass. Interment afterwards to the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Motor Neuron Disease Association and the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Marie McGrath to Let Birch. Her remains are reposing at her home. Removal from there tomorrow morning at 10:15 to St Angus's Church, Burt, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in Burt Cemetery. Marie's Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight. The death has occurred of Marie McGinley, née Prendeville, Brookfield, Donegal Town. Marie will repose in Gallagher's Funeral Home, Mount Charles, today from 4 o'clock, with removal at 5:30, going to St Noel's Church, Ardahi, Inver, arriving at 6 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers to As Dara Did and or the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland. The death has occurred of Sean John Boyle, Mulladuff, Kincashla. Sean is reposing at his home in Mulladuff this morning from 11 o'clock, with Rosary at 9 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in the Star of the Sea Church, Annagry, with burial afterwards in the new cemetery. The death has occurred of Eva Peoples, 398 Ardbeath in St Johnston, County Donegal. Eva is reposing at her late residence, with Rosary at 6 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:15, going to St Beathan's Church, St Johnston, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. And the death has taken place of Carl Fisher, Carnador, Castlefin, remains reposing at his residence. Funeral from there this afternoon at 1:30 for service in Munellen Parish Church at 2 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the family plot in the adjoining churchyard. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, you're welcome back to the show. Good morning if you're just joining us. Some of your comments following on from our first hour. Eamon O'Queeve would make a better leader for the real Fianna Fáil anyway. It was Reynolds would first helped Adams, McGuinness and Humes, the USA Irish Labour MP and Trimble negotiate the Good Friday Agreement. Bertie carried on with it, believes that caller. Fianna Fáil is stuck in a rut and aren't able to use their imagination to see what the possibilities are to benefit the whole country, believes another. We need renewable resources. We in Donegal have the infrastructure to produce electricity from wind farms and hydro energy as well. You'd imagine would be something we could look at. Another caller says windfall tax on profits is of little benefit if the energy supplier can recoup it all back by increasing prices. This might explain why a poll last week showed people opted for a price cap. Pensioners are allowed so many free units. Increasing this allowance would alleviate fears. Yep, and a few people suggesting that free units would be a more targeted approach for those who maybe are afraid to switch on the electricity. How do you know if there are any buses being organised to go from Letterkenny to the protest in Dublin? That's a little element of this that I'm just not seeing as much as. In previous protests. Like, what is the situation as it relates to buses being organised? Are there any? Let us know. We'll pass that information on. If people don't create uproar about Bertie Ahern rejoining Fianna Fáil after the corruption of the past, not necessarily he, because the Mahon Tribunal didn't find him corrupt directly, I really don't know what to say about us. Another good morning, Greg. With regards to Bertie's punishment, I'm sure many of your listeners would love to have the pension that Bertie got as punishment. I just remember at the time, and I think it's when he sort of got the reputation of Teflon Taoiseach. I remember people that I would have spoken to at the time, and maybe they were slightly older than I were still very sympathetic to Bertie Ahern, even as he was being expelled from, although we chose to leave Fianna Fáil. People still were defending of him. I don't know if that's your recollection, or maybe that's still what you believe. Or maybe it was a different time, I don't know. But I do recall at the time that people, even with everything that was being exposed, that there was a lot of people that I would have had conversations with that were quite, leave the man alone. He's done a lot of good. He without sin cast the first stone, that type of thing. Now, I'm not sure if attitudes have changed, but I do recall that clearly at the time. Another listener says, I can't believe that Fianna Fáil would even consider taking Bertie Ahern into the party. I'm more disappointed that it was a Donegal member who mooted the proposal. Bertie's contribution to the peace process was nothing more than he happened to be Taoiseach at the time. The work of John Hume and Gerry Adams appears to be airbrushed into the background. As a Fianna Fáil voter, I couldn't stomach the return of a man who was found to be less than truthful by the Mahon inquiry. Micheál Martin is driving the Fianna Fáil bus over the cliff. He'll not survive the crash, though I believe Micheál Martin's achieved everything he could hope to have achieved in politics at this point, certainly internally in this country. Would you not agree? It's terrible to see how bad the housing crisis is. You can build a house here. You can't build a house here if you're Irish. It's a disgrace that it's becoming a global conversation. And what are they referencing there? The news that the French embassy has advised its citizens thinking of relocating to Ireland to reconsider due to Irish housing crisis. Things must be bad, says this caller, when it's European-wide news. They're also stating that Dublin is more expensive than Paris, but Dublin is a very popular place as well. There's an awful lot of big employers in Dublin: Google, Apple, TikTok, so on and so forth, the data centres, what have you. It doesn't surprise me that Dublin's more expensive. It's a small town compared to a lot of cities, and there's an awful lot of industry and an awful lot of people from around the country living and working in Dublin and from outside the country. And then they locate our National Stadium there, which is, chaotic when there's something on, but also, some of the learning institutions with the higher reputations that attract international students. So I'm not really surprised Dublin's more expensive than Paris, because it hasn't grown. The infrastructure hasn't grown with its popularity, and the fact that the French now know it's really expensive and there's a housing crisis doesn't put me up or down, because we have to live it. It's really sickening to hear the profits that the ESB have made and people struggling to pay their bills, says a caller. Another, we need to cut back on politicians and their wages during this winter. Well, I think that politicians have just got a €6,500, or in line, sorry, for a €6,500 pay rise, and there's actually going to be more politicians. So what you're suggesting, the opposite will be true. Another, could they not give units of electricity rather than money? That would save prices going up after the discount is given. All right. The government is pushing e-cars. It's no wonder prices are going up. It's the green policies that are driving up the prices, says another caller. But you see, the thing about it is that, and I know people, that the Green Party is going to be a lightning rod for these issues. But even if the Greens aren't there now, unless you've got a radically sort of different thinking government, maybe sort of more centre-right kind of a thing, the Green Party policies now are generally the policies of the main parties. Do you know, I mean, the Greens will take a lot of credit, and perhaps justifiably, for accelerating the rollout of what you're seeing now. But I think, you know, the days of a budget day, a green policy being mentioned and the camera panning to Eamon Ryan, you know, all parties are pushing the same thing really nowadays, I think. Okay, we have so much to come on the programme. I think there's been a breakthrough in the Clonmany bus issue. Okay, we're going to be speaking to a parent to get some clarity on that. But finally, after days and days of upset and anger, is it possible that finally there has been a breakthrough? Stay tuned. We have news on that and so much more besides for the next hour and 45.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday, the 16th of September. You're playing on the yellow sheet. The reference number is S5. It's game number 37. The numbers are 11, 8, 57, 40, 61, 10, 43, 34, 20, and finally 41. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Fancy a lunch out today? Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny have a menu packed with great value selections, and there's also specials every day. Or enjoy a 3-course Sunday lunch from 12 to 3 for just $16.75. Take a seat for the best value lunch in town at Kelly's award-winning diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Don't know if you know Alice and Pat, late 40s, couple of kids, been together 17 years. Never married, of course, but that's not a problem. Until something happens, and suddenly words like unmarried, inheritance, and substantial tax bill enter the equation. You never need proper estate planning. Until you do. That's why the experienced team at McElhenney & Associates are here to help. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney & Associates Solicitors, Stranola.
He's not sure where to stand. He doesn't know a single rule. This game isn't familiar. Neither are his teammates. He's outside of inside jokes. And inside, he's shaking. He's learning how to solo. He's starting to feel like he's not alone. His local club welcomed him in like one of their own. He is one of their own. He's a newcomer, and he belongs where we all belong. GAA, where we all belong.
It's a quarter-final weekend in the Donegal Senior Club Championship, and you can follow the action here on Highland Radio. Our feature game on Sunday comes from the O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny as Naomh Conaill take on Glen Swilly. The other last 8 encounters are on Saturday, and we'll have coverage from the games between Killybegs and Kilcar, Airua and Gweedore, and St Michael's against St Junans. The championship on Highland is with Highland Motors Letterkenny, main Citroen dealer in Donegal. The new C5 Aircross gives you absolute comfort and style, now available in diesel, petrol and plug-in hybrid. Test drive yours today.
The award-winning Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor now offers a wide range of skin boosters. The injectable moisturiser for under eyes that improves dark circles, fine lines and wrinkles. Also treating the face, neck, chest and hands. This amazing treatment works from the inside out, resulting in brighter, smoother, plumper skin. For help choosing the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. You can download the Genesis app or call 07495 32575.
Bachelor Boys Multi-Breed Pedigree Ram Sale takes place this Friday night in Reformart at 7 p.m. 100 top quality rams on offer, including Badgerface, Blue Texel, Charlet, Texel, Suffolks, Beltex, Dutch Spotted, Rouge, Blue-Faced Leicester and Border Leicester. That's this Friday at Reformart.
Hello, this is Liz O'Donnell, Chairperson of the Road Safety Authority. I want to share with you some serious road safety figures. Last month, there were 14,541 drivers detected speeding and 736 drivers arrested for driving under the influence. But what I'm most concerned about are the 13 people who died and the 83 people seriously injured on our roads in August. That's 13 people who are no longer with their friends or family, and 83 people whose lives may be changed forever. Help us stop such needless loss of life and injury. I'm asking drivers to slow down and never ever drink or drug drive. Visit rsa.ie.
Okay, now a parent, Samantha, joined us a few days ago and is back on the line with us. We've been talking about a situation in Clonmany whereby students who are entitled to a seat on a bus are being left on the side of the road on a daily basis each morning, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, and also concerns that some are being left at the end of the school day back at the school because all the seats are taken for the return journey. Samantha, have we had something of a breakthrough? And good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. We have seemed to have good news. This morning there has been a minibus put on which is taking 15 kids to Carndonagh. This alleviates the problem of 30 kids as such getting on at the Corner Cash bus stop. So it comes down one road, it takes the 10 kids down that road and collects 5 at that stop. So it only allows then that there's going to be another 15 on the Donegal bus, which is great. As parents, we're delighted. There's no rush in the morning. This morning was so much more safer for everybody. And now, I know this bus at the minute, I think, is only a temporary job until the tender is granted. But it's definitely going in the right direction, and we're hoping that it stays as it is at the minute because it's solving a lot of problems.
Yeah, because it never made any sense that a bus would come eventually to carry those who didn't get on the first bus. This, as it is, hopefully now going forward, we know the students are going to be there. Get the bus there, get them off that dangerous junction and alleviate all this stress and pressure in the morning. Is the same minibus, do we know, or we'll have to wait and see, going to be at the school to make sure there's no one left behind in the evenings?
He is going to be there to take the 15 kids that he took in. He's going to take them home. It allows then that, that McGonagall's bus then can take the others. There is a few spare seats now sitting on that bus because there's kids not in today, but that there is plenty of room now today. And going forward, there should be adequate space for any kids, as they say, that nobody should be left behind.
I mean, common sense has prevailed, but my word, it took some fight, didn't it?
It did. It sounds awful. And that's what we just want to thank yourselves, Greg, and Highland Radio for giving us the platform to voice our concerns. We were at our wit's end, and we have, as we say, to have, thankfully, a good outcome at the minute. So we are, as we say, we're grateful for all your help.
No, but listen, we're just to open the platform for people like yourself, Samantha, to speak out. And I just wonder if Minister McConaughey's office did intervene yesterday, because he did say he was hoping to get a solution. If that's the case, let us know, and we'll let the people know.
I'm not sure now who intervened yesterday, but the two politicians that I would like to thank is both Martin McDermott and Padraig McLaughlin, who has worked from the very beginning with us as parents in Clonmany, and they seem to have done every bit of the legwork on a political scale for us. I would definitely like to thank them, and we'd also like to thank, there's 3 bus operators who have stepped in and has worked for us as well. McLaughlin's, who has taken the overflow, McGonagall's, who I'm sure are stressed to the hilt, and McDade's of Buncrana as well, who had to take the overflow as well, that have who have really pulled out to help all the kids. And at the end of the day, it was the kids that we were, trying to help.
Yeah, because it was, and particularly yesterday, I listened to that student left behind. Just imagine how that person might feel. But also, the kids being on the ones on the side of the road as the bus pulled off, and the stress and anxiety that creates. We as adults, we've learned to deal with stuff over the time. Some of us deal with stuff better than others, but these are young people, and life's strange enough, or has been strange enough for the last few years, without that sense of being abandoned almost. Not that they're abandoned, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's good.
It
All
was
right.
a situation that was very difficult to deal with for both the parents and the kids. And as I say, thankfully, we do seem to be on the other side of it.
Brilliant. Okay, let us know if there's any change heading into next week, but hopefully that's the last now. We have to talk about that because of a positive outcome. Samantha, well done to you and all the parents who have been batting for your children as always. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a million, Greg. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, that is, however, it was resolved. That is seemingly resolved. Isn't that good news? Right, a caller says, I'm a student nurse. Micheál Martin literally voted against paying student nurses. I don't understand how I'm expected to qualify and work in a profession where my work conditions are crumbling. And that is the problem. It's not just about pay or compelling people to work in the health service. It's having a working environment that is attractive. Retention is a problem, let alone recruitment. The grass is greener. There's no grass here anymore, believes a caller. Young people just exist here, from a mother who's young had to emigrate to have any chance. Everyone's situation is different. I mean, there's some, big employers out there hiring at the moment on really good terms that I couldn't have even dreamt of. I think my first job at, I don't even want to say what age it was, but it wasn't school leaving age anyway. My first job was, I think, €55 a week, and I had to give my mother 30 of it or something along those lines. I mean, there's people now with a leaving cert, you can go in and earn really, really good money in certain employers, and they're actually hiring at the moment. But I suppose maybe if you have particular career path or ambitions that you have to follow, maybe you do feel you have to go. And I'm not suggesting for a second. I just think there is some greenery here is what I'm trying to get at. To the comment from Professor Pat, you cannot restrict a person's freedom after graduation. You're putting a band-aid over the problem, which is what our government has successfully failed in their duty to provide jobs where the pay is representative of living costs and conditions. I think conditions are a big part of it as well. Good morning, Greg. Young people are tech savvy. That's about it. They can't fry or boil an egg. Well, I'll fry you an egg, but I can't guarantee if I boil you an egg that I won't give you salmonella. But okay, I'm not a young person, by the way, or pretending to be. Can we get clarification? Read the block of apartments in Ballabafay and what is happening with them above super value. Obviously, any accommodation that comes on stream now, there is going to be speculation as to whether it's going to be made available for to service the housing waiting list or to house Ukrainian refugees. I mean, you've seen bunk beds going in all manner of places now. It's really, really strange. It was on the news. I think there was some clarity got on that. I'll check with the newsroom to find out what the final, not the final, but what the working situation is as it relates to those apartments there. Re-electricity, a caller says he's living in his home with only his wife. Children have left the home, yet bills are going up and up. What about getting the meters calibrated to see if people are being charged extra? Yeah, indeed. I keep saying the same thing, but I wanted to know what was using power in the house. So I got a plug where you plug the plug into the plug socket and it tells you how much power it's drawing. I've done a few things. There's one room particularly cold, even with the heating on. I don't know what the story is. And I kind of have one of those oil radiatory things, do you know, the freestanding one? So I want to plug it into this plug to find out how much power it's drawing and whether it's a practical solution rather than having the heating on for the whole house. I don't have any zones or anything. That's how I'm doing it, plugging stuff into this plug to see what's really, really drawing the power, so I feel I have a proper control over it. LED bulbs, I've already changed them. I'm rambling now. I feel like I'm just talking at home. Right, okay, but it's ever present in our minds, really, isn't it? We're always thinking about costs and how we can save money. I just want to mention Buncrana Pantomime meeting at 8:15 in St Mary's Hall Monday night. Anyone who wants to be in the cast or chorus, maybe that's something that you can do that won't cost you money but will entertain you and a nice thing to be involved in. It's the Buncrana Pantomime. They're having a meeting at 8:15 in St Mary's Hall on Monday night for anyone who wants to be in the cast or chorus. Right. Let's take a break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Dinosaur Day live at Letterkenny Shopping Centre this Saturday. A free giant day out for all the family. Join Terry Triceratops, Vinny Velociraptor and Trixie the Giant T-Rex for all the dinosaur must fun. Meet and greet sessions at noon, 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. See letterkennysc.com.
To get that job done, call Gortley Sales and Hire in Letterkenny. Generators, portaloos and lighting towers. Also diggers, dumpers, rollers and much, much more. With short-term, long-term and weekend special rates available. Call Gortley Sales and Hire on 91 26 276.
This week at Centra, choose from amazing mega deals, like Bird's Eye selected chicken breast fillets better than half price, now $3.60 each. Centra fresh Irish diced beef 410 gram, only $3.50. And a Bellio Albarino wine, only €10. Smart choices, choose Centra. Centra, live every day. Enjoy, call sensibly.
Tune in to Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio this Friday night with Frank Galligan from 8 till 10 p.m. in association with Arena 7 Letterkenny. Check out Arena 7 Bowling, 10 state-of-the-art bowling lanes, surround sound, stylish seating and funky lighting. Plus Marty Friel playing party hits every Saturday night. See arena7.ie.
Your Lancome free gift is waiting for you at McElhenney's. Simply buy 2 Lancome products and receive the ultimate beauty routine. Your gift includes a full-size Vivasil cleanser, a 7-piece travel set, plus choose from our Absolute or Hydrozen skincare collection to complete your gift. Exclusively in-store and online at McElhenney's.com until September 17th while stocks last.
Hello, how can I help you?
I'm looking to claim on my insurance policy.
Okay, and what type of chip do you need to claim for?
It's not a chip. I was in a minor accident.
And was your windscreen chipped in this accident?
No, it's just my backlight and the bumper.
So your windscreen is not chipped?
No.
Unfortunately, our policies only cover chips.
Do you get the feeling that you're not getting the right cover? Well, at Local Insurance, we are Irish owned and understand your needs. Call us today for a bespoke quote on 0818 894 444. Local Insurance, we'll get you sorted. The Local Insurance Network, DAC Trading's Local Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Local Insurance is a tied insurance intermediary of Acorn Brokerage Limited. Acorn Brokerage Limited, trading as Acorn Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Okay, let's go to Ramelton now, because we're talking about the lack of tie-ups for boats and leisure craft. Two people to help us understand this problem and what needs to be done. Joe Buchanan, manager of Conway's Bar. Joe, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, okay, so paint a picture for those who may not be aware about Ramelton, about the quay there, the tying up of boats, maybe even a bit about the history compared to where we're at now, or is it about the future, potential for the future? You tell us the story, Joe.
Well, Ramelton, as people know, are built on the banks of the River Lennon, and a beautiful river, a beautiful setting for any town to have a river flowing through it. And it's tidal waters, so when the tide comes in, it makes it more beautiful. And down through the years, it has been a big issue with boats coming up the estuary, from the Folly estuary up the Lennon estuary into the quayside. We over the years, we have had a lot of boats coming up from the Buncrana and Fawn tie-ups down there, and they enjoy the pleasure boats coming up. They enjoy the motor boats, and in years gone by, sailing boats used to come up there. They've expressed their concern to me, because when they come to town, they come maybe 8, maybe 10 boats at a time, and when they come into town, they go around the restaurants, they go around the shops and the bars, and they spend a few hours in town, and then they go sail back down or motorboat back down the estuary again.
I mean, it looks lovely, creates a bit of a buzz, presumably, but and the problem too is that those that still come up are doing so with a poorer infrastructure. If the infrastructure was better, you probably would see more boats, would you, Joe?
Oh, well, they have told me that the lack of tying points there at the quayside is like non-existent nearly, and they have to tie boats together to be comfortable and making sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the line's cut out.
They have more tying points.
Yeah.
If they had more tying points along the quay, they would be more boats come up.
All right. Well, they seem to be mostly tying their boat to Jerry's boat. Jerry McLaughlin, a boat owner. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Right. Talk to me about the experience. Right. Where do you launch your boat? And is yours a motorboat? And talk to me where you launch it and about the journey up to Ramelton. What's it like?
Well, we keep our boat in Fall Marina. Yeah. And when we go up the river, we're going to get up the river on a big tide, on a 4 metre plus tide. So we're limited to the time we're up there for a start. We have an hour and a half before high water and an hour and a half after high water. So when we go up, like last Saturday night, there was about 17 boats going up the river.
Wow.
And when we go up, there's only two places really tidy.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, my boat's probably one of the biggest boats. So I go on the wall first, and then like last Saturday night there was 9 boats tied off me. So it means the people in the very last boat are walking across 9 boats to get on shore.
Yeah.
And there's a safety of it alone, you know. So, and there's a lot of young kids come up on the boats as well, you know.
So the person, the ninth boat, the ninth boat tied to yours really because of the lack of a jetty or a pier. Are people clambering across the boats to then get onto the bank?
Yes.
Right,
and there's a lot of young kids come up along with us, you know, and elderly people as well, and it is very awkward. Like last week, I was actually tied to a lamppost, which is actually a memorial lamppost. There's a memorial plaque for somebody that died, and you feel awful tying it, you know.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. And by the way, just before we talk about the tie-ups and stuff, you talked about how your access is restricted, and yours sounds like a bigger boat, Jerry. Has that river been dredged in the past? Is there an argument for it, or is it just the way it is, and we work with what we've got?
Well, be honest. To see if that river was in a town like in England, there'd be a wall across the gates on to keep the tide in, and there'd be pontoons up both sides of the river, and the place would be worth. God knows, if you were to buy an apartment overlooking that, you're talking millions, you know.
Yeah, but it would be a significant development. And Jerry, how long does it take for you to steam up from Fawn to tie up in Ramelton?
We take our time going up because it is very shallow in parts, and it takes us about 45 minutes to go up. You know.
All right.
But there's a whole safety issue going up because the channel isn't marked ever, and you have to actually stay. We have plotters, a plotter which is the same as a sat nav in a car. So we have to stay in the river. We can't go out of the river at all, you know.
Yeah, you have to just make sure that you follow the deepest
night,
part.
there were 17, 18 boats up there. Yeah. Like last Saturday night and Sunday night, there were 16, 17 boats up there. It's beautiful, beautiful time.
Yeah, and what a way to arrive into it and visit.
On last Saturday night, I had actually 5 American people on my boat, and they thought it was one of the best experiences they had in their life, you know.
Yeah. So, Joe, from your perspective, as one of someone who's interested in the local area, but also, of course, that understands the business element of it. I mean, this is already obviously from Jerry's experience, it's beautiful, but this has great potential. We should be encouraging, not discouraging, people from visiting Ramelton this way.
That's exactly right. Yes. Those guys have been coming up to Ramelton for years and years. I remember myself as a young lad watching the sailing boats coming up. In the early 70s and all that, and that's history in Ramelton. That should be achieved. It should be kept there. And those guys, they enjoy coming up and they enjoy the journey up. So, and it's creating revenue in the town. So for the lack of a few tying rings, I mean, this facility should be up and running, and it shouldn't be deterring these people from coming up.
Right, so we made representations to the council on this issue, and it seems good news, but I want both Jerry and your Joe's reaction to this. The council say that this has been raised previously by boat owners. They say that tying rings will be provided now within the next 2 weeks. They also confirm that the council are currently submitting an application for funding to the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine. And let's not forget, of course, Charlie McConaughey is head of that department, which hopefully would mean it would be looked at even more favourably. But anyway, it's under the Brexit Adjustment Local Authority Marine Infrastructure Scheme, and it's to refurbish this area to better accommodate this increased demand. And the refurbishment works will include new steps, decking, railings and safety equipment. So in the first instance, Jerry, new rings will be provided in the next fortnight, and also an application is being drawn up to improve facilities even further. Jerry, what's your reaction to that news?
That's brilliant. That is actually brilliant. That's all we're looking for. It's just somewhere safe that we can tie up the boats to. And it means, like if there's extra rings up there, the boats wouldn't have to be nine boats out, and that's brilliant news. That's great news.
Same to you, Joe. What do you think? That's a step in the right direction?
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great news. To know that quayside is going to be developed and brought back to where it should be for locals and tourists and for the boating fraternity.
Brilliant. So this month, new rings, and then plans then for under this specific scheme, which I would be quite optimistic they'd be successful in. Better accommodation for increased demand, new steps, deckings, railings and safety equipment. So your hopefully, Jerry, next year or the year after, your boat won't effectively be the jetty anymore.
Well, we'll be up a few times more this year as well.
Great. Okay,
so
well,
we'll be looking forward to seeing them.
Let us know if these rings appear or not, Jerry, and we can chase it up. Happy sailing. Take care of yourself.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you very much indeed. And Joe Buchanan, Conway's Bar. Anything? What's on this weekend for anyone in the area or visiting, Joe? Have you just nice pints in the Cade Mealer Fulcher or anything that you want to plug, Joe, while you're on?
The music as normal on Saturday and music on Sunday. And again, we have the regular bluegrass session every Wednesday night, summer and winter.
Wow, I'd say that's hugely popular. Is it the bluegrass session?
That's very, very popular. Very popular. Yes, we like people coming from all over the country to it.
That does not surprise me. Okay, so bluegrass on a Wednesday, and there's music
every Wednesday,
Saturday and Sunday this week.
Yeah.
All right,
that's it.
Good man. Hopefully you have a good winter, Joe. Take care of yourself. That's Joe Buchanan, manager of Conway's Bar. It would be remiss of me to have a business on and not allow it to have a plug, wouldn't it? A gentleman from Ramelton called Bill Campbell, living in the US, who won a Nobel Peace Prize for the development of a vaccine for river blindness. Would you be able to discuss this? Well, we've spoken to Bill on many an occasion. In fact, we had an interview with him last year. If you search the website, it's there. I've interviewed him myself. I know Catherine, formerly of this parish, she interviewed him last year as well. And we were speaking to him too in the context of, there was talk at the time too of his vaccine, or his vaccine that he developed maybe having some positive consequences for COVID. But anyway, he's actually in recent years been quite a regular guest here on Highland Radio, by the way. So we're well across that one. All right, should we take a piece of music? What do you think? It's Friday. We'll take a piece of music. Coming up after 11, Michael and Fanula will be in, talking all things entertainment. Get involved in the conversation. I don't care what you want to talk about. If you've been to a good gig, anything that's not serious, all right? So maybe you've been to a good gig. Have you been to a good show? What have you watched in the cinema? Maybe you've just visited somewhere. Anything that is entertainment and passing the time. We're going to be talking about TV and cinema, of course, as well. But it could be a live band. Maybe you were out on Tuesday and randomly there was some music in a bar and it was a great band. Tell us all about it. WhatsApp, anything you want. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps or texts. So give us a call on 074 91 25,000. It's just that hour, the last hour of the week, where we just chat and ease our way into the weekend. Tell us what you're doing at the weekend. Have you anything exciting planned? Are you living and dying for something? What is it? Maybe it's a 40th birthday party or a 50th wedding anniversary. Anything. Share it with the Northwest and we can share in the love. Okay?
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today. Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Hey, yeah?
11 years, Sarah. 11 years.
Oh my God, is everything okay?
It's all off.
You and Paul?
No, my bank. We're breaking up.
Oh, Jane. There's plenty more fish in the CCPC money tool.
Breaking up with your bank? Search for your new match using CCPC's free independent current account money tool. Find your new account now at ccpc.ie/move. From the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, your football specialist. Multi-buy discounts on footballs from Mitre, Adidas and O'Neill's. Training equipment, cones, bibs, water bottle sets. View our complete range on bmcsports.ie. Have your team look the part with some Adidas leisure wear. New Entrada 22 quarter zips with matching bottoms. Training packs available for all ages. Look the part, play the part. In-store, online, mobile. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €160 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
At ESB Networks, we're connecting Ireland to a clean electric future. And as part of the National Smart Metering programme, we're now installing smart electricity meters in your area. Your new smart meter will reduce the need for estimated bills, help you to manage your electricity usage more efficiently, and enable you to access smart electricity products and services. We'll contact you before your meter is installed. Find out more at esbnetworks.ie/smartmeter.
Crawford Tiles Castlefin. Bathroom yard sale starts Thursday the 15th to Saturday the 17th of September. Be quick or you'll miss out on bargains galore. Toilets, vanity units, wet room screens, shower cubicles and more. In-store 15% off all bathware. Remember, 3 days only. Miss it, miss out. Telephone 91 43942.
The Johnny Doherty Festival of Irish Music and Dancing Ardra, Friday 23rd to Sunday 25th of September. 3 days of Kelly's dance workshops, pub sessions and concerts featuring Zoe Conway and John McIntyre on Friday in the Beehive, Cherry's the Ladies on Saturday in the GEA Clubhouse, and Dermot Byrne, Breed Harper and Stevie Cooney on Sunday in the Beehive. For more details, see johnnydohertyfestival.com.
Now, Europe Direct Letterkenny, which is based in the Central Library, will host award-winning entrepreneur and journalist Harry McCann on Wednesday. That's next Wednesday, the 21st of September. It's at 2 p.m. It's a free event. For fresh refreshments will be provided, but booking is essential. Delighted to actually be able to welcome onto the show that entrepreneur and journalist Harry McCann. Harry, good morning to you.
Hey, Greg, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Come here, do you enjoy doing talks like this?
Yeah, no, I do. I think that they're great opportunities, especially when they're in different parts of the country as well. So a lot of this stuff tends to be very Dublin focused or even Cork focused at times, but it's nice to get around the country and do it in places where I suppose it's good to get messages out and give opportunities where it's not necessarily always given.
Yeah, and obviously for younger people particularly, you're relatable because you are one of them. Tell us what you talk about. I mean, obviously people would know you from your first business, Kid Tech, which is hugely successful. Is it really maybe filling in the gaps as to how someone can have ideas and ambitions and make them become a reality?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose it's trying to discuss that age isn't necessarily a barrier for these things. That's usually a huge point to push that a lot of younger people in particular feel that they have to wait until they're in their late 20s or 30s or older to I suppose start a career or to work towards something they're interested and passionate in. But I suppose the big points I suppose I'll be making on Wednesday is that you don't necessarily have to wait, that you can take this opportunity now. You can use the time in school. In transition years, often a great time because you've that little bit of extra free time available when you're not working towards exams. And then also, obviously, because of Europe Direct, it's trying to highlight, I suppose, the benefits and the advantages of being a young European as well. So trying to highlight the opportunities out there to go and explore Europe and take part in different initiatives and programs, which are widely available now for the European Year of Youth.
Yeah, and how important is the European Year of Youth and those opportunities that are available to people in Europe? Is it essential or is it just another string to the bow?
I think it's really important. So the European Year of Youth is was designated this year based on, I suppose, how hardly impacted young people were by COVID-19. So a lot of young people would have missed out on a lot of opportunities. They would have suffered a lot from a mental health point of view. And this year is kind of focusing on, I suppose, recognizing the challenges facing young people and trying to put them in the spotlight. So like I come back to the stat quite regularly, which is that 25% of the European population is made up of those under the age of 30, but only 5% of parliamentarians in Europe are actually under the age of 30. So we're usually mis or underrepresented across Europe. So what this is kind of saying, look, it's giving young people a voice, but it's also making them aware of the huge wide array of opportunities that are out there to go and just discover Europe, whether it be from Erasmus Plus or whether it be through the voluntary corps. There's so many opportunities out there, and it's trying to highlight those so that young people can take advantage of being a European citizen.
Yeah, as well as being a successful entrepreneur, though, very successful, you also are an advisor to the European Union and the Irish government. How was that connection made? Did you approach them and were you pushing an open door? Did you feel that, someone had to be in their ear, or did they recognise, your skill set and tap into that? How did that relationship form?
Yeah, so that relationship formed quite early on. I suppose I would have been in about transition year, 5th year in school at the time, and would have contributed a lot to the junior cert reform as a part of my work with the Digital Youth Council. And then it would have kind of expanded into things like I said on the government data protection form for the Department of the Taoiseach, and that was highlighting concerns around data protection, which is obviously a huge topic now. And then with the European Union, it would have been around things like online safety. So the European year, for the campaign that they held for Safer Internet for EU, I would have been an ambassador with that for the Commission. So I suppose it's varied in opportunities, but there's always been an open door there. And still, even this week, I spoke at the annual parliamentary symposium. I was invited by the Ceann Comhairle to come and speak about, I suppose, representing young voices in Irish society. So it's still a huge topic of conversation. The government are very much open to listening, and that's important because it's so necessary now more than ever before.
What I try to do on this programme, and it's not always easy, is not talk about young people. Do you know what I mean? Not talk to older people about young people, to talk to them. So whether it was through COVID, or it was to do with the exams or youth issues, I don't want to sit here and talk to two politicians in their 50s about young people. I want to speak to them, right? But it's not always easy. Do you think more young people need to find their voice? And make themselves available to shows like this and say, stop speaking about me, speak to me?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I think, look, young people do have a part to play as well. I'm always advocating for it. I've spent a lot of my time. I'm 23 and 24 on Monday. So I've spent the last 8 or 9 years trying to push that message across that, while I'm one voice, I can't represent all young people. There's too many of us from diverse backgrounds with different challenges and different issues, and everyone needs to use their platform, which they have now thanks to social media and thanks to the media being so open generally, to speak up and speak out about what the challenges they're facing. Because as you said, you can't have two 50-year-old grey hair politicians on speaking about the challenges facing young people. They need to be people on the ground who understand the challenges and might have solutions for those problems.
Yeah, because some of the biggest issues at the moment are, say for instance, a big controversy at the moment nationally about a teacher refusing to reference a child by the chosen pronouns, or a young person by the chosen pronouns, or sort of, what and how is taught in schools as it relates to, sex education. And who's having the conversation? You know what I mean? I'm sure young people are, but on a national level, who's having the conversation? It should be. Where are the young people in this conversation?
Yeah, no, it's a great point, Eric. I think when you look at the challenge at the moment is that when you look at all of the government ministers, as I said, across Europe, only 5% of parliamentarians are under the age of 30. A lot of the government ministers now are older. I know Roderick O'Gorman, the Minister for Children, is actually a little bit younger than most, but still there needs to be young people at the table to challenge politicians and to, I suppose, stand up for these issues. Like you made the point about the pronouns. That's a huge issue at the moment. So is young people deciding to leave. We've an exodus of youth at the moment. So I think it was 7 in 10 in a report this week from the National Council of Ireland, Youth Council of Ireland, said that they were planning on leaving because they felt there was better opportunities elsewhere. So, young people are going to be leaving the country because they feel that they're underrepresented and don't have a voice. But I suppose young people have a responsibility to use their voice, and then politicians have a responsibility to make sure they're listening and valuing those opinions. So I think it's a bit of both sides.
Yeah, I can't see another middle-aged man with no children screaming into a phone about youth issues. I want to hear young people's voices on this. But anyway, people will have an opportunity to hear your voice and your views. Europe Direct Letterkenny, based in the Central Library. It's hosting award-winning entrepreneur and journalist Harry McCann. It's Wednesday the 21st of September at 2 p.m. It is free, but booking is essential. To book this event, you can email eudirect@donegallibrary.ie. And we have numbers here as well. The event's funded and supported by the European Commission. Harry, listen, I'd love to get a longer chat with you at some point if you'd be open to that. And happy birthday for Monday, the big 2-4.
I'm getting old.
You're still at an age where you can fit your candles on a cake. I'm not, so enjoy it and continued success. All right, fair play to you. Thanks very much indeed. All right, bye-bye.
Cheers.
Take care. All right, that is Harry McCann there. If you want the booking details, get in touch with us and we'll pass them on to you.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
There's only one thing as good as a TUI holiday, and that's looking forward to one. So get next summer sorted and secure your TUI holiday today. Choose beach, lakes and cruise breaks across a wide range of destinations, including Mexico direct from Dublin, plus all your favourites like holiday villages, Splash World resorts and our own TUI Blue hotels. Secure now with thousands of free child places and a low booking deposit of €25 per person. That's next summer's holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy. T's and C's apply.
If you have magic moments or great memories sitting on your phone or in the cloud, have them printed at McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. Get larger 7x5 prints for the same price as 6x4s. 35mm and film from disposable cameras, also printed and digitalised. Use the in-store kiosks, download the McGee's Photo Prints app or visit mcgees.ie for photos printed instantly, within an hour, or in by 10 and ready by 5. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
Wellness awaits at the multi-award-winning V-Spa, set within the confines of the 4-star Villa Rose Hotel Ballybuffet. As a sanctuary of tranquility and relaxation, the V-Spa specialises in advanced facials together with Medi-Spa treatments featuring chemical pills and microneedling. This September, the V-Spa have released a collection of autumn wellness packages that are guaranteed to leave you feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. View the autumn spa packages online today on villarose.ie.
It's Aldi's best value back to school event ever. This week's Super 6 fresh meat and fish offers include Irish pork steak was $4.99, now $4.49. Salmon fillets 4-pack was $6.99, now $6.49. Hand-tied sausages was $2.69, now $2.39. An Irish medium whole chicken was $4.79, now $4.49. Aldi have savings after savings after savings. Just saying.
Free inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, your essential guide to the ploughing. Our bumper magazine has everything you need, including exhibitor listings, site map, event programmes, plus directions on how to get there and where to park. Don't miss your free guide to the ploughing inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Okie doke, heading into the last hour of the 9 till noon show this Friday. Let's get a news update. I'd say good morning now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A Donegal councillor has reacted angrily to plans to fly the national flag at half-mast at council buildings on Monday as the funeral takes place in London of Queen Elizabeth II. In a letter to members this morning, Chief Executive John McLaughlin informs them that the Department of the Taoiseach is requesting that the national flag be flown at half-mast on Monday and the necessary arrangements are now being made. However, Councillor Micheál Colmcille-Osberg has branded the decision a disgrace and is urging council employees not to comply with any such requests. ESB's profits of €390 million in the first 6 months of this year is disgusting. That's according to Councillor Jack Murray, who says in the months ahead people will be forced to choose between heating their homes and eating due to the high energy costs. He says the sensible and moral thing for the government to do is cap energy prices. There's finally been a breakthrough in delivering additional school bus capacity in Clonmany. For the past 3 weeks, numerous children entitled to a seat on a bus were left stranded at the side of the road as there was not enough seat available to transport them to Carndonagh. A 15-seater minibus has been put on this morning as an interim measure until a permanent bus is in place. A meeting of the Glenties Municipal District has been told that more services must be provided for Ukrainian people living in the district, with an emphasis on integration into their local communities. Councillor Norrie McGarvey says in the initial stages the emphasis was on finding accommodation and school places and ensuring the basics were in place. Now she says it's time to move on to the next stage, with a focus needed on shared interests such as music and sport. 18 months before the new National Children's Hospital is due to be completed, €1 billion has already been spent on the project. That's 3/4 of the construction budget allocated for the facility at St James's Hospital in Dublin, according to the Irish Times. And a severe shortage of accommodation in Ireland means French students should be extra careful looking for student digs. That's according to the French Embassy in Ireland, which has posted a long note on its website about housing. It warns low supply and high demand means there's a sharp increase in rental prices here and that they're more expensive than Paris. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed. Back after the break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union. 9102127.
Hear that? That's the sound of you saving. When you drive an electric vehicle, you're helping save our beautiful planet. And you're saving yourself not having to pay ever-increasing fuel prices. Find out more about what you could save at fasterevcharge.com. Save today and tomorrow. This project has been supported by the European Union's Interreg 5A programme.
Hegarty's Auto Body Repairs in Letterkenny have been keeping cars on the road across the northwest for the past 50 years. Hegarty's are the only Ford-approved body shop in the northwest, but repair all makes and models. Paintless dent removal, windscreen replacement and restoration work. Hegarty's even mix their own paint. Approved by most insurance companies and certified Steel Standards Ireland. That's Hegarty's Auto Body, Letterkenny. For all vehicle repairs. See hegartys.com.
An important timetable update from TFI Local Link Donegal, Sligo, Leitrim, route 953 Moville to Letterkenny. Great news from Monday, September 19th. TFI Local Link route 953 Moville to Letterkenny will be extended to Greencastle and will now service locations including Kildaff, Glenealy, Greencastle and Bridgend. Operating up to 3 times per day, 7 days a week. The enhanced route will now provide a new peak time service for students and commuters into Letterkenny, arriving for both 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. and returning at 5 p.m, as well as improved connectivity to regional bus services for onward travel. For timetables, fares and all route information, see locallinkdsl.ie or call our office on 074 9741 644. TFI Local Link, part of the Transport for Ireland network.
Circle ELT is the new name for Repack ELT. Circle ELT work to ensure waste tyres are managed in an environmentally sound way through our 3,000 member outlets nationwide. Our new name reflects our mission to expand the sustainable uses for waste tyres. Circle End of Life Tyres, driving a sustainable tomorrow. To find out more, visit circleelt.ie.
Are you interested in returning to education? ATU Donegal's Certificate in Access Studies for Higher Education is a free course available for adult learners, early school leavers, or those who have never had access to educational opportunities before and want to kickstart their third level education. The closing date is the 23rd of September. For more information, visit lyit.ie/access.
Okay, you're very welcome to the last hour of the 9 till noon show for this week ending 16th of September 2022. Good morning to you, Michael Leddy, writer and blogger. Great to have you with us.
It's great to be here as always. Good morning to you. What a lovely morning it is, Greg.
It is, isn't it? And we're heading into a nice weekend, it seems. Fanula Rabbit, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great to have you with us. So caller in quickly saying Greg, best gig of the year was, believe it or not, Hey Ho, Let's Go Raffo, Oakfest, Donegal with Derry punk rock legends, The Undertones. Great sounds, great party atmosphere, great weather. A1 excellent. Sorry you missed it, Greg, indeed. And it was on my list of things to do because I wanted to bring the boys up to it. But obviously it coincided with the Garth Brooks show, which Fionnuala, you enjoyed, did you?
Oh, absolutely loved the Garth Brooks. He was, to be honest, he was everything he needed to be. It would have been 100% for me if Trisha Yearwood had sang one more song because she was amazing.
Well, she sang a song on Friday, you know.
Besides the one that she sang?
Yep. No, she sang a full song on Friday.
Now I'm angry with Garth Brooks and it has lowered in my estimation. A strongly worded letter will be sent to him. But in fairness, if you went there to see Garth Brooks, he could not have given more.
If you're a fan.
Yeah, he could not have given more. But I do agree with you. The ego boost that he was given by these 5 days was phenomenal. I mean, I'd say they'll have a job getting that lad on a plane. He's like
and my
a
word,
balloon.
He let you know he was enjoying it, didn't he?
Oh, he's like a big puppy.
Yeah.
One of my sisters was saying she saw him being interviewed and he was talking about how he's just not cool. And no matter, he'd be quite liberal and he's, into an awful lot of different campaigns that he tries to help out on. And he's like, there's just sometimes you're just not cool. And he's like, somebody like Dolly Parton, regardless of what anybody says, there's an element of cool to her.
Yeah, big time.
And he's like, he just can't do it. And to be honest, as he stepped out from in front of the smoke machine and walked onto stage, you were like, yeah, this guy can't pull off cool.
The energy was something else, though,
amazing.
wasn't it? I mean, I don't want to bring age into it, but he had to get himself up to a level of fitness to pull that off because that was a huge stage and he ran every inch of it. And, when he sang every bit of it, it's not like sometimes with artists there's backing singers that pick up the vocals. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he never took a break.
Yeah, he did the whole lot himself.
He never, his band took more breaks than he did.
Yeah.
In fairness to him now, he did put on he did put on a show, and if you went to it, my cousin was with us, and as she was going back on the plane to London, she said there was another father and son sitting beside her. They'd been to all 3 nights, and they were flying back this weekend to go to the nights as well.
And there's definitely FOMO now because everyone's looking for tickets for tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and also just staying with that side of things, and maybe in the similar genre, Luke Combs.
Yes.
His tickets went on sale this morning at 9.
Yeah.
Belfast sold out at 9:01.
Yeah.
I mean, he is another big artist, maybe for a new generation, but, American country is flying,
he seems very similar and reminds me of the Garth Brooks of the 90s, as in he's one of these people that's doing a crossover for a lot of, I would never have listened to country per se down in Galway, but suddenly Garth Brooks popped up on the scene and it was like, oh, Bajini. And I think Luke Combs is doing
Bajini.
Strong emotions there from Fionnuala.
Well, it got a Bajini out of her.
Yeah.
But
just picture it, the 1990s.
I know. But already there's people on Facebook saying any Luke Combs tickets available. I don't think that's till next November or October or
November 2023.
Right, okay. Did you just let all the Garth Brooks emotion wash over you?
Slid past me.
Yeah.
Other than people I know, such as yourselves, that are going, and friends of mine are going this weekend as well. No, I let it wash. Let it go by me. Go by me.
All right, okay. Any other gigs you've been at? 086 60 20. Yeah, exactly. It's uncool now.
You're like Garth Brooks. You just can't pull off.
I can't pull off the cool.
Was he not cool?
Garth Brooks? Oh God, no. It was like he was very, and I like him, but it was 3 hours of dad dancing. I mean, it was awesome dad dancing, and it was extremely enjoyable. And I mean, he was just like a big puppy.
Yeah.
He just seemed to be soaking up the love.
Because sometimes people sing songs with emotion, but he just sings songs with joy. I mean, there was one song when he came back for the acoustic set that he does, that someone had a sign up, and he sang this song looking at them and smiling at them.
I do, yeah.
And it was like, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was brilliant, but it was intense.
Yeah. He just reminded me the whole time when you saw it, every time the camera went to his face. And I mean, it's very videoed because there's going to be some sort of a documentary on the other side
because
of it.
there was a lot of Amazon branding. His music's exclusively on Amazon.
Yeah.
And also, it was pointed out that the band, everyone all wearing the same outfits for all 5 shows. So it's not that they're short of a few bob, but they can take they take elements of different shows and blend it together for continuity.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realise that. But just the whole thing of it was like every time it went to him.
Do you know when you're sitting enjoying it and going, yeah, well, I'm sitting there going, right, wonder why they're doing this, and I wonder why they're doing that.
I love that flyy camera thing though.
Yeah,
it's very distracting.
Floats around it.
It's really cool. But no, he looked like a big puppy every time the thing went from just this kind of like daft grin on his face. He just seemed to be just soaking up the adoration. I mean, it's an amazing thing. And I mean, in fairness to him, like, has he had an album out since the 90s?
It
just was unreal.
It is a stadium tour, and the way I would look at it is there's not another country that he could sell out 5 stadiums, but there's also not another artist that could sell out 5 stadiums here.
Okay.
There is, you know what I mean?
Okay.
He couldn't. It's a relation. He couldn't do that anywhere else but here. I don't think. And
no, I
don't think so either.
The amount of it, like, I mean, I know obviously some of the stadiums in the US are probably bigger. You know, twice the size of Croke Park. I don't know. You know what I mean? As in, you think
80,000, and there was probably more than 80,000. But
yeah,
he couldn't do that anywhere else, and I don't think there's another
not
artist
for as
could
many
do it
days.
Here.
Yeah, no, I know he does apparently sell out because it turns out that out of all the Rabbit women, the youngest is a closet Garth Brooks fan. We didn't realise it.
Well, she's out now.
As they say, she showed up in boots. She showed up in boots, t-shirt, cowboy hat, the whole lot. We were all looking at her going,
didn't we all?
Who knew? But yeah, she tells me apparently he sells out all over the place. But I don't think he could have done what he did in Dublin. It was what he has done in Dublin.
Just the scale
it's
of
just.
It. I mean, is there? If anyone out there, 086 60 25,000. I mean, who could out there, let's say, do 3 Croke Parks? Is there an artist out there that you think could fill? Well, Luke Combs, maybe, actually, when you see how popular he is.
But I mean, he didn't. He's only done, like, what's the Millennium?
4.
Sorry, the Belfast. That only has like 12 or something.
Yeah, but he sold it out in a minute.
I know, but
they know in advance. Yeah, they know in advance what they would do. Maybe he could do 1 Croke Park, but he couldn't do 3.
No, I don't think he could. I mean, even in Dublin, his Dublin show is only in the point. Like,
right.
If they thought he'd any chance, particularly now when country music is at its, you'd think selling them today in the middle of Garth Brooks. If I was his promoter, I would be thinking, oh God, if there was ever a chance of selling Croke Park, this is it. Like,
do it. What do you think? What's the last concert you went to?
Oh my gosh,
probably
Blondie.
I saw Blondie live.
I saw Blondie live, yeah. And it was a small venue as well. It was like a large pub. She was just right there. They were all right there. I was mesmerised by the drummer. He's amazing.
I always find my eyes drawn to the drummer as well.
Because
they're literally the heartbeat of the band.
They totally are, yeah. They totally. What? I missed
Me
that.
too, but for different reasons.
Right,
I
anyway.
was well off. I never heard it.
Shall we start talking about some programmes? Well, we get the first break out the way, and then that clears us. Then, all right. Back with more from Michael and Fionnuala after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
When you hit a certain age, exercise can seem like all pain and no gain. I mean, no one wants to see yours truly wearing lycra. But keeping fit doesn't have to mean getting ripped. Simple things like bringing the dog for a walk.
Come on, boy, come on.
And taking the stairs more often can make a big difference. Work out what works for you. Get more tips at sportireland.ie/workout.
New this week in Home Store and More. All clothes errors are half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price clothes errors are gone, they're gone. Also, all mattress toppers and all stools and chairs are still half price. But when all the half-price mattress toppers and all the half-price stools and chairs are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Tourism businesses have a brand new mark of employer excellence. Driven by the employee's voice, the Employer Excellence Programme recognises employers who consistently create better workplaces for their employees. Attract and retain top talent. Shine the spotlight on your business. The Employer Excellence Programme. Learn more at falterireland.ie.
An enduring power of attorney, or EPA, is a legal document which appoints someone I trust to make decisions about my finances, property and personal welfare if I can't due to frailty, illness or disability.
It's good for everyone that Dad has an EPA. If needed, we will know who he trusts to make certain decisions and what his preferences are.
Plan ahead and safeguard yourself. Talk with your solicitor about making an enduring power of attorney. See safeguardingireland.org.
Charlie McClafferty Funeral Directors, serving Letterkenny and the surrounding areas for over 100 years. Charlie McClafferty Funeral Directors. Let our family take care of your family and guide you through a difficult time.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €160 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Imagine a better way to manage your energy with a smart plan from Bord Gosh Energy. Our smart plans, like Free Time Saturday or Free Time Sunday, can help you lower your bills and reduce your energy usage. Find a smart plan that works for you and your home at boardgoshenergy.ie/smart. Free energy units are available from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday or Sunday each week with this tariff. Customers can choose Saturday or Sunday. Smart meter required. Terms and conditions apply. See boardgoshenergy.ie.
Right, okay. Let's go to the cinema first for those who may be planning that type of a night out for the weekend. See how they run. A bit of buzz around this one,
Yes.
Michael, is there?
Yes, there is a bit of buzz around it, and the critics are really embracing it. The trailer looks fantastic. That trailer sold me straight away. I really wanted to see it. And myself and Fanula toddled along last night. And you know when you're in the cinema and you go, Bijino or Bijingo, or what was the word? Bigini. This is a great film. So it's very much influenced by the success of Knives Out, which was the Daniel Craig movie from a couple of years ago. So it's somebody else jumping on that bandwagon and doing, in my opinion, a very good job.
Yeah.
Ahead of the second Knives Out movie, which will be out for Christmas. And I'm very much looking forward to that. So what they've done with this one is they've taken a real life play, and more specifically a real life production of a play, the very famous Agatha Christie's Mousetrap, which is the longest running production in the world. It's run non-stop since 1953, I presume. So they've decided that, and they've incorporated Agatha Christie into this, and they've incorporated Richard Attenborough and so forth, but they've incorporated versions of them. So the Agatha Christie in this is quite bloodthirsty. It's not at all meant to be historically accurate. So what happens in the story is that the production is running. It has successfully run through 100 nights. And on the night of the 100th production, there is a murder in the building. And two police are brought in, an inspector, Sam Rockwell, who is a bit world weary, or very world weary. He really doesn't care about anything. He just sighs through every scene. And then his partner is the very young, overly enthusiastic, and in my opinion, he said, looking towards Fanula, in my opinion, utterly wonderful Saoirse Ronan, who is, she's got 3 times the enthusiasm that he doesn't have. And so they go in.
Are you on about as actors or characters?
Characters.
Okay.
Characters. So the two of them investigate the murder and question all the suspects. And she just thinks everybody's guilty. As soon as they say anything, she's like, that's it, let's arrest them. And he's like, just wait a minute.
There's a procedure to be
Yeah,
followed.
well, he just doesn't care. He just wants to go to the
Alright,
pub
okay.
and have a drink. He literally just...
And he's good at that.
Yeah.
He's kind of a funny character, Sam Rockwell.
Right, yeah,
he's been in quite a few films, but some strange characters.
Yeah, he morphs
type
into
of
the
stuff.
roles very well. I find, like it's hard to believe that this is the same guy from maybe Iron Man 2 or something. He's a whole different energy when he plays.
But he's been in a couple of good films. There's one actual, I can't remember.
Oh, he's been in, yeah.
It never come to me. It would never come to me. There's one film that I watched that I'd never heard of before, and he's in it. I think he actually plays a cop in it. Anyway, it's worth recommending. I'll try and get
It's
the
probably,
name. It really
IMDb
is
it or
quite
something.
good.
So what I really loved about this is it's very funny, but it's a type of humour. It's the humour. It's extremely witty. So the dialogue, there's so many quotable lines. There's some I would love to quote on air.
It's 3 billboards. Obviously, everyone's seen 3 billboards.
Oh, right.
He's brilliant in that. Sorry,
okay,
go on
so
ahead.
that's-
Yeah.
So there's a lot of quotable lines in it, but it's also the fact that it's very cleverly self-referential because it's about a murder mystery, and it is a murder mystery. So the characters talk about the tropes of the murder mystery, and they're talking about adapting the play into a film. So there's talk about, well, if you were doing this as a film, what you would have to do in the final act is you'd have to have this.
Do you have to do that well, though, doesn't it? 'Cause it's been done.
Oh, it's been done. But they say, look, if you're going to do the final act, you have to have this happen, this happen, this happen, and this happen. Then when you get to the final act, that happens, that happens, that happens, and that happens. So they tell you how it's going to go. And they're very clever, he said, looking at Fionnuala again, with the misdirection. They will make you think midway through the film, aha, I figured this out, but you're wrong.
But is it a satisfying payoff?
I thought it was very
because
satisfying.
Sometimes I've noticed that the what do you call it? What's the word?
Dynamo?
The
revelation?
Red herring.
The red
can
herring
sort of be a dead end. You know what I mean? You feel like you've been
duped. Well, I think it's fun to be duped as long as when they let me put it this way: when they get to the murderer and they tell you who the murderer is, and they have those 5 flashbacks to this line of dialogue, this line of dialogue, that one, and you kind of go, well, I did anyway. I was like, Bigini, I should have figured it out. That was cleverly done. I should have.
Come here, Fionnuala.
No, after that Bajini,
disagree?
I kept very quiet there because
if you were in Dublin, that'd be Bagara. So
I know. I kept very quiet there because I spent most of the movie questioning at him as he laughed out loud the whole way through it. Now I feel completely different about this movie. It was fine. I enjoyed watching it. It was very much though in the kind of Kenneth Branagh Murder on the Orient Express.
I didn't like that.
Do you know the way there's just something off on it? And I forget the other one, the other Kenneth Branagh when he did 2 of them, wasn't 2 of the Agatha Christie ones that he did?
On a boat.
Death on the Nile. So it was to me, it's more in line with that than it is with Knives Out.
Right.
In the sense that it's trying to do what Knives Out did, which is that old fashioned, but Knives Out did it so much better. I felt this kind of didn't give me, I don't know, did it assume that everybody kind of knew the story of the mousetrap?
Right.
And there was some assumptions made that maybe if you had, you might have gone along with it. I didn't know a lot about it kind of going into it. So it didn't kind of, by the time it all came to an end, you say, did you feel satisfied in the end as to how it resolved itself? It didn't sort of hit my buttons for that. And Saoirse Ronan is, in my
wonderful,
terrible. I didn't think she was cast very well in this. Like, she's supposed to be a mother with 2 kids. It's not no relevance to the movie.
But that's something,
you're like,
that's
no
something
way.
that comes up from time to time when this item poorly cast, not believable. And I'd be kind of the same. I think instantly do you struggle a little bit to get past that. In other words, it's not really that important, but it's
and I
just
have to say, Saoirse Ronan would not be on my list of top 100 actresses.
Yes.
So that's a start. And she did this in what I find annoying is her being interviewed in America, Irish accent.
Oh no,
that's what it sounded like to me.
Again, another thing that you've got. This is not good.
So she kind of wrongly ticks all my wrong boxes. No, I definitely think people should go and see it. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. It's very very English. It's very much done. The kind of the costumes and the sceneries and stuff like that is very sumptuous. Sam Rockwell is amazing in it. There's a couple of other actors in it that are really good. They kind of stand out. I would think
beautifully filmed.
It is
beautifully filmed.
Yeah, looks really, really well. And the kind of humor in it is, to me, it's very much in kind of the Pineapple Express, Budapest Hotel, that kind of that sort of a dry, not aged too, but set in an era. That sort of, it was like very 50s kind of an era, that kind of thing. A lot of puns, a lot of double entendres, that kind of thing in it.
Well, the Saoirse Ronan character just keeps making jokes. A lot of those are bad puns. She thinks she's funny. So she keeps making
do you
jokes.
find her attractive?
Not particularly.
Okay, no, I was
yeah,
just
not
wondering
particularly.
if that was blinding you.
No, but I think she's a really good. I'm going to get hit again if I say this, but I think she's a really good actress, and I'm definitely going to get hit when I say this. But I really enjoyed that version of Little Women. Don't hit me. And I thought she was excellent in it.
Yeah,
I've got to give you a list of Little Women's to watch.
I should probably watch the Claire Danes one, yeah. But
so then, out of 10, Michael.
9. Loved it.
9.
Oh God, I would bear like 5.
Yeah, but still worth going.
Oh yeah,
to.
I definitely think it's worth going to see it.
You use
People
the line quite a lot, don't you? It's not often that you're just so.
Yeah, we
it's
do.
not often that you're just so sort of.
Yeah,
in disagreement.
What the best part is, if you really want to enjoy, bring him.
Because
literally, that is
Watch
all
him
you'll hear.
enjoy it.
That is all you'll hear the whole way through.
I was in
Is
stitches.
that-
I was in stitches. The lines were so good, you know. There are things like, I didn't kill him, I didn't even see his plays. You know, the lines like that are really sharp. I just
You
think
have
it's
to
really
be
good.
An actor. Right, I agree with Fanula. Gareth Brooks has a creased iron into his jeans, so that's definitely not cool. Okay.
That's a nice way of putting it, isn't it?
Yeah, the
He
Undertones
totally
never
did.
took a break and were non-stop, real, authentic Irish music. Imagine they came from the 1970s. That's they were up Notefest.
Paul was totally going on about them last night.
Yeah.
He was covering for Jim, and he was giving.
Donald was at it too.
Mad
he
reviews
thought
for
they
the
were great
weekend
as well. Loving Cobra Kai has everything: martial arts action, great characters, great twists, and even some laughs, and really bad and good. And the bad and good of how people can be. That's really stood the test of time, Cobra Kai, because that was the original YouTube show, wasn't it? And kind of
It's gone like it's on its fifth
season.
series.
And
Fifth
people have
season. It's huge.
It's unbelievable.
But it's a massive hit.
yeah.
Massive.
And
It's
people
like,
love it. Real.
I'm gonna have to get back. I mean, I watched a couple of the first series,
Maybe
and I
you
was
never
kind of like,
got
it's
it, yeah.
fine, but
Okay. Well,
I'll have to give it a right
and people
run.
who
'cause
like it
love it. Yeah,
love it.
it's
Yeah, friends of
amazing.
mine absolutely adore that show.
Yeah,
Adore
but
it.
you would never watching the first view of the first. You'd be like saying, "Oh yeah, they might get a series out of this."
Yeah.
But
Hi,
it's
Greg,
just really-
and TV2. That's you over there. While I'm sitting down to my Thunder breakfast roll. If you're wondering why people go gaga over Garth, including his TV3 doc on last Tuesday, Kevin refused to refer to it as Virgin. It's still TV3. He's got an Irish mammy, Colleen McElroy Bigara. Okay. So as soon as anyone now mentions Irish mammy,
Don't we all have
instantly,
I know.
think
We all
of
have an Irish mammy, but we don't necessarily. Oh, I have to say, that was the thing I said to him walking out of the cinema last night. I was like, I think I preferred Blackbird.
Oh.
She did.
What?
She said that.
I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know what to say about that either.
People should see Blackbird before it leaves.
They
the
should see
cinema.
it. It's,
It really is good.
It's a talking point.
It is.
Particularly if you love good films. That'll because you can talk about it more.
I wondered, did the momentum carry over into a second, third week, or was it sort
No.
of that initial buzz at the beginning?
We were asking at the
Yeah, we
cinema,
asked,
and
yeah.
they said the first kind of week, and then it sort of dried off a bit.
Tapered off,
I
yeah.
think so, yeah.
It's a pity,
But
yeah.
it
maybe
is
the
a pity
second weekend
because
picks up.
it's the second best worst film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Second best first.
I still say
So good.
people should see Blackbird because you'll be chatting about it for the rest of the night in a good way. You'll be chatting about it with your mates. Can you believe that this happened and this happened?
I know.
When he kissed the nun who was the undercover spy because that's what spies do. It's weird. It's just weird.
All right,
It's weird.
It's still ever present in your mind.
I know,
Yeah.
that's the thing about it. If you see it, it'll stay with you.
Right.
Fingers crossed for Oscar time. That's all I say.
Mallory Towers.
Oh yes, Mallory Towers.
I wasn't going to go to you. You can wait. I was going to go to Fnooz, sorry.
Too much
I always-
excitement.
Stay where you are because I'll come to you in a second.
I know, you've teased them now into thinking,
I was-
Michael watches Mallory Towers.
He saw
Sorry,
me.
go on, do it.
He saw
Mallory
me.
Towers,
He saw
go on.
me. Do you
Go on.
want to? Do
Yeah,
a cover it?
yeah.
Mallory Towers is one of my favourite shows this summer.
Oh.
Oh, look at Greg. Look at the way it goes. What happened was...
Do you know what it's about?
No.
You haven't
Oh, well,
a clue.
then there you go.
I got into this because I enjoyed The Railway Children when the original movie and the new movie, and it's a very wholesome, low stakes drama. So I was looking around, and on Sky Go they've got an adaptation of the Enid Blyton book series from the late 1940s, 1950s. It's about a girls' school. I never read the books, although I did read the Enid Blyton Famous Five books, and I think they're fantastic. And I still watch the Famous Five TV show. This is a brand new BBC co-production with Canadian TV. So it ticks all my boxes because it's got a Canadian element.
Yeah.
It's a half-hour drama series about girls' school. The cast are all 12-year-old girls. Each season seems to be based on one of the 6 novels. And when Blyton wrote this, she based it on her own daughter's experiences and used her own...
So how many series are they in now?
They've done 4.
Really?
3 have aired. 4th is in production. And there were 6 books in the series, the 6 years of
Have
school.
you heard of this before?
I had heard of it when I was a boy.
Do you, Fionnuala?
Yes, of course, I read all the
So
books.
how
Yeah.
old? No, but the actual series. How old is the series?
Oh, this is the new version.
Brand
of it.
new.
This is
They're
the
in
new
production.
version
They're
of
in
it. Oh no,
production.
but they've done loads. They did
Yeah.
movies on it.
Right.
They've done
Yeah.
different movies. There was a version back when we were kids. There's been black and white
Yes,
movies
they've
on
been doing
it.
it loads of times, yeah.
Mallory Towers was kind of like the Bunty of
Yeah,
the
of the books.
70s. You know what I mean? When they came out, they were.
And
It's a
they-
boarding school, so you've all these
Yes.
girls living in a boarding
It's
school.
sort of like Harry Potter without all the annoying magic.
Or boys?
Well, there's a boy who works and runs errands around from the school to the town. So there is a guy in it, but it's all 12-year-old
And in
girls,
the later books, obviously, when they get to 5th year and 6th year.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it for me.
Some boys make
Spoiler.
They get older.
But it's a really good show. I would describe this as not a
funny?
kid's.
Sorry, did you say?
It's not a kid. Sorry.
Is it funny?
There are funny moments in it, but it's actually quite a dramatic series.
Okay.
The main character, and it's more, I wouldn't call it a kid's show, I would call it a family show. It's a very wholesome show. Probably the same demographic as shows like, another show I hear is really good, and it came back last night, is the new All Creatures Great and Small. I've heard that. Have you seen the new one?
Yes.
Apparently it's brilliant.
Very good.
I'm going to start watching that next week.
Yeah,
but
so
yeah,
good.
Mallory Towers, they're half-hour episodes. The main character, Daryl, she's a fascinating character, and I've really grown fond of her because she's got a temper and she gets herself into trouble. She's not a perfect heroine.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a perfect protagonist. She's definitely flawed.
So what is the story? Sorry, do they face danger, or is it
it's
drama?
very
or
no low stakes. Like it might be that somebody goes to the village to make a phone call and they might not be back before curfew.
Okay,
that's your
wow.
element of drama.
Right, okay.
But it's the element. I'll tell you. I'll give you a good example.
The books are all about midnight feasts.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they're getting a new headmaster, or they get a
Something
new
like
mean
that,
teacher,
yeah.
and how do they get rid of the mean teacher?
Daryl lost her temper with one of the girls in a later episode, and she was justified, but she pushed her. And the episode was a really good episode about peer group possibly ostracizing her based on the fact that she can't control her temper. And that's pretty solid drama, like of any age group. It's like these people don't trust her, these children don't trust her anymore because she lashed out. I think it's a really good show. Solid 8 from me. I really like it. Really like it.
All right, okay. Is it something as someone who's seen previous incarnations of this, read the books, whatever, Fionnuala, is it...
I think we're always looking for stuff, particularly for tweens, and this to me would sit lovely in a tween age, and it can be hard to find stuff that is fun and yet is... not
challenging but not childish.
Exactly,
Yes.
and appropriate. You know what I mean? And appropriate, because sometimes, as you say, there can be a little bit too much of boys coming into some of this stuff that's supposed to be for tweens, which I think can sometimes make them feel a bit pressured. This is very much, if this sticks to the books, which Michael's really enjoyed, so I assume it does. It's very much like I said, all these girls are best friends,
But
but then they
St.
fall.
Trinians or something, no?
It's exactly that type.
very
St.
similar,
Trinians is kind of based around.
But without that mischievous, I love the old
yeah.
films, but there was an element of mischief because they were like hiding a racehorse or doing stuff like that.
you.
I don't think Mallory Towers goes that far, do they? They're more.
Yeah, it's more about the friendships of the girls, and it's more the midnight feasts and the big dramas that they face personally, kind of a thing.
Okay. Good stuff. All right.
You can't go wrong with
strong review from you, Michael. We'll be hearing more from Michael and Fionnuala. I need a list of Apple stuff that's good.
Oh,
do you just keep mentioning stuff that's good on Apple, and then I say I'm going to watch that. The last one was Blackbird with no space.
Which
I really
still want to
loved
watch.
that.
Yeah, I still want to watch that.
And I just
With
want
space.
With
Black.
space.
With space.
Okay. just want to stumble across Michael Flatley. A few things like that as well. But I need to start writing stuff down that I say I'm going to watch. Okay, back with more after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard. Bringing full banking features. Delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
Enjoy a great value breakfast any day until 2 at Kelly's Diner, Letterkenny. Every Saturday at Kelly's, it's Steak Madness with a succulent 8-ounce steak and all the trimmings for just €12. On Fridays, from 3, all deluxe burgers with chips and a soft drink are only $15.95. For endless choice and value, pull into Kelly's Diner at Mountain Top, Letterkenny.
The young bakers are trying to make our Brennan's family pan and Be Good go viral on something called TikTok, says old Mr. Brennan. Viral TikTok, says I. I knew a fella who suffered from that. No way, says he. Ah, yeah, but he didn't make a song and dance about it. Although, says he, one thing worth making noise about is that anything baked is better with Brennan's. Today's bread today.
At Abbott, a global healthcare company, we are dedicated to helping people live more fully while providing our employees the opportunity to build a career with a purpose and live their own best lives. Now you can join us to shape the future of diabetes care in our Donegal location. 1 in 10 people around the world live with diabetes, and our operations in Donegal will help people worldwide manage their health more effectively and comfortably.
We are looking for engineering, quality, medical device manufacturing, and other science-based professionals that want to be part of this exciting opportunity. Make your next career move today by visiting jobs.abbott.com/Donegal or visit us on Facebook or LinkedIn. Abbott, we build careers and change lives too.
All new weekends at Warehouse Bar and Kitchen. Bottomless brunch every Saturday and Sunday at Warehouse, only €25.
Every Sunday it's date or mate night with 2 main courses for €25.
Cocktail promotions and live music from 8 p.m. Warehouse Bar and Kitchen, Main Street, Letterkenny. Book your table now.
Let Joe McGee Butchers feed your family with their 5 for €20 deal. Choose from our fantastic deli range. Lasagnas, cottage pie, chicken curry and soups. Just a sample of our fine products all made in store only at Joe McGee Butchers, Letterkenny and Glencar shopping centres. Find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, you're welcome back to the entertainment item with Michael and Fanula, brought to you in association with the word of the day, Bajini. Right, okay. All right, Fanula. I Came By on Netflix. Is that a good one to pick out here? No?
Wouldn't be my top 5.
Let's go with Trigger Point.
Yeah.
Virgin Media One.
Trigger Point is on Virgin Media One. I think it has been on earlier in the year, but it is a 2022 series.
Mm-hmm.
It's Vicky McClure, who was in... Flip it, I can't even think of it. What's the name of the BBC police drama?
Line of Duty, no?
Thank you. God almighty, that just literally was in my head and fell straight out. She was one of the stars of Line of Duty over the years. This is her next kind of big project. In it, she plays, again, another police officer, but this time she's a bomb disposal person. She has been in the army. She seems to have a few kind of things.
I've saw the trailers for it. It looks actually...
Was this on ITV?
Yeah. To be honest, I watched the first one and I was like, I don't know. And then I sort of stayed going with it because I was like, okay, you need at least 2 or 3 to be able to give a judge of it. By the third one, I could see elements of Line of Duty kind of coming into it.
But why not just make another episode of Line of Duty, another series?
No, well, it's completely like obviously the whole cast and everything is completely different. It's a completely different kind of thing. But basically, what it is that there is a terror threat happening in London. There's random bombers going around bombing different sites. And trying to pin it on different ethnic groups and different, and now they're sort of working out as to whether or not it actually might be some homegrown terrorism. So that's kind of what they're working through, is and who is it and who's causing it and that kind of thing. It's there's an awful lot of that kind of like exaggerated tension,
Stand back!
And she's there and she's supposed to be this massive big, in the first episode, this will put me off it nearly entirely, but then I got over it. But like they're about to they're looking at this bomb and they're kind of tracing the wires and where's the ignition and all this kind of stuff. And next minute what the guy that's with her says, oh, there's not a lot of light here, and she goes to turn on a light. Now, in my vast knowledge of watching Law and Order and all these other programs, you do not turn on a light when somebody is trying to. You don't touch anything. And I was like, so there's a few little things like that. The way it's that kind of suddenly then she's there kneeling on the ground, her hand is shaking and she can't do the light the rest of the way.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that where there's a bit of heightened tension in it.
I remember the reviews. I remember people slating it on Twitter. People I follow were rubbishing it that without like for lack of
Apparently
tension.
part of it was to challenge the real life dominance of men in bomb disposal work.
Right.
Yeah, and I can see that, but then she's the only woman that's there.
Right.
So that kind of defeats that purpose a small, because I can see that that's what it is. But then it's like it's her and like 6 guys are in this unit, and you're kind of like, well, that sort of defeats the purpose that they're coming through.
Yeah.
Plus, she is, as they do with all of these things, has a past, is struggling with the you know what I mean, is struggling with her own.
Did she make a wrong decision in the past and someone died as a result of her cutting the wrong wire?
There's there's
hate when that happens.
There's all kinds of stuff that kind of keep coming up in this.
So,
but do they have drone footage?
I have to say, but I'm 3 into it now, and I've said the more
which
you
is
watch
halfway
it,
though. Like
the more you watch it, the more you kind of get into, because the story is quite good and it's interesting to have like the homegrown, and you're not 100% which way it's going to go. There's a couple of bits, there's a couple of threads kind of hanging, that would make
don't pull them.
Well, 100%. But there's a couple of threads hanging as in which direction this could go in, like there's kind of a right-wing political party. There's also, obviously, as there is in all these things, people within her own? Is it somebody in, you know what I mean? This somebody with
Not
this.
a bent copper.
Who knows? There's like wayward family members. There's all this.
Right. So, like, I just wonder when they're making programs like this now, you know, when you talk about it waiting to get into episode 3, if you were watching it weekly, you'd be going, oh, would you last episode 3? Or are they shooting and making these programs now for binging almost like as a 6-hour event?
I don't know, because they're showing it on Virgin. I'm watching the 3 because...
But they know them down the line.
Because they know there's a binge model out there.
Well, Sky is once anything comes up like that, you can usually binge them.
My question kind of is, though, is it a challenge to pace these programs now for a binge audience versus, you know,
I think so.
Yes.
Like all of these, it kind of ends on what I'm assuming the people who made the movies
would be a cliffhanger.
They put a lot of effort into you're just waiting.
One of the characters is, where did I put my keys?
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, you're kind of waiting for the EastEnders do at the end of it.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, this is in no way going to get you the way Line of Duty is, and my concern is that by the time it comes to the end, I'm going to feel the way I felt at the end of Line of Duty, and I'm like, I'm in it now. I need to figure out who this group is.
Who H is.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
okay.
Now, if H turns out to be, you know, her, I'll lose my mind.
Right, okay.
And Vicky McClure will be gone from me forever. But
she'll be in the Saoirse Ronan pile.
Yes, she will be in the Saoirse Ronan pile. But she's
Love
growing
Saoirse
on me
Ronan.
a small bit. But there's something about her, even when she was in the thing. You know, the way she's kind of
She was not my favourite thing about Line of Duty. I'm not going to lie.
She wasn't, but she got massive
but the casting of
reviews
that
for it
show
and
was
lots of-
actually, because even her and the male character in it, the Scottish fella.
Oh, Matthew Compton.
It was a strange bit of, I thought, casting for both of those. But anyway, so at 3 in, what are you giving it out of 10?
I'm in it now, and I think I'm going to stick with it. So I probably give it about a 7.
All right, okay.
You'll stay with it, and you kind of go through it, and it's the periphery kind of story is good in it.
I can tell you, I'm far more likely to watch that Trigger Point in Virgin Media than I am Mallory Towers. So
yeah,
but it'd be more your
we're appealing to all demographics.
Yeah, well, that's good. What's it called again? Trigger Point.
Trigger Points. Yeah. She-Hulk is the worst superhero show yet. Corniest storylines ever. Plus, it's so misandrist that it is hilarious. This makes it worth watching. Aha. Misogynist? Misandrist is the opposite of misogynist.
It's the opposite. It's definitely a female perspective. I mean, the show, as I've noticed that in my review this week,
Which is
it's really
fine,
doubled down.
but
Yeah, I don't mind it.
just
Yeah.
Not, it doesn't have to be misandrist to come.
No,
from
I don't
female.
think it's that
I mean,
bad.
we're trying to get away from misogyny, misandrism.
Yeah. No, I
I
don't
didn't even
think
know
it's.
there was a word.
I don't think it's putting.
See
men-
how I'm bluffing as if I knew it all along.
I never heard that word before.
There is an element. I mean, it came up again in this week's episode, and I do love the show, I have to say, but it came up again this week that, and they've recorded this, that like it's a fear for the women in this show. They talk about the fear of walking home alone at night and stuff. I feel like it's valid for them to put that out there without it necessarily being an attack on men. I think in an urban environment, I think it's not much of a reach to think that there would be women afraid of being attacked.
The
at night.
idea of it
Can I
was
just say, without sort of crossing into anything sympathetic, which is sensitive,
Yep.
nationally here in this country, talking of women not being safe walking home, there was a very strong pushback from men who believed in real life that this was misogynistic against them.
Yeah,
Not misogynistic, or it was unfair against men.
Against men, yeah.
I mean, that is a
it's always
debate.
that painting everybody with the same brush
that's
kind of
it.
argument.
That is
Look,
even.
to be honest, as a woman watching this, I don't find this in any way pro women because it's silly.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
a sitcom.
in fairness,
It's a
I know
sitcom.
what you're saying. It talks about,
It
people
comes up
being-
in the subtext.
I
yeah,
know,
subtext,
but it
yeah.
comes
But
up
it's a
that
sitcom.
she is no longer afraid to walk home at night because she is
Yeah.
a Hulk.
Yeah.
If that's what we require in life in order to be safe, we might as well all just stay home under the
Well,
sun.
yeah.
Is it then
So
that-
it's
do you think
very.
people are watching this not realising it's a comedy, and that's no reference to
Oh
that
no,
listener.
it's clearly no. I mean, it's.
But do you really look
sitcom.
for what
It's not
the
funny.
hidden meaning of something is in a comedy? Like, would anyone
Well,
watch an
Scrubs-
episode of Friends? and think,
Scrubs was a half-hour comedy, but anyone who watched Scrubs, I mean,
I know
Scrubs could make you cry.
I know, but it was also funny.
But it was hilarious. Yeah, I know. It was
This
funnier
is not,
than. No, it's not that
this is-
funny.
I think what's wrong with this is that it's not funny. It either it hasn't really picked what it is. So I know you're saying that it's supposed to be the comedy thing. I don't really find it very funny. And also, if you are like me, comparing it to some of the amazing shows that they did, like WandaVision or Loki,
and it's always going to be held up.
And that's
to
the
them.
thing.
It doesn't matter what genre
it's unfair.
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this
even though it's completely different, it
is like 100 times not what those TV programs are.
Okay.
This is like something that you.
So it's so bad to me.
Seven
It
or
really
8 year olds
doesn't
would
matter.
watch.
to
It
what
reminds
the
me
message
of.
it's
It
trying
reminds
to-
me of Dollface. You know the it's that kind of. I was watching last night, and I
really like Dollface.
Huh?
I thought you liked Dollface.
I love both of these shows. See, I love the She-Hulk. I gave 10 out of 10 to last week's episode. I loved it. I thought the character that came in, who was sort of the party girl who was carrying her drink into I thought she was hilarious. She was fantastic. Patty Guggenheim is the name of the actress. Never heard of her before. I thought she was hilarious. Hilarious.
Okay, let us take a break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account. Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
At Chrysler Supermarket, we pride ourselves in offering you all your dairy essentials in one place, with great offers and choice in our deli, butcher's counter and across our large range of fresh produce, with opening hours to suit. Your nearby store, Chrysler Supermarket, is your one-stop shop for convenience.
For day-to-day healthcare needs, generations have trusted the experienced staff at McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. From coughs and colds to aches and pains, from vitamin supplements to first aid essentials, McGee's have what you need when you need it, with a full prescription service available daily. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
The Queen of Country and Irish, Margot comes home to Donegal for one night only. Join Margot live in concert in the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny on Thursday the 6th of October. Joining her on the night are special guests David James and Shuni Cramsey. Tickets now on sale from hotel reception. Don't miss Margot live in the Mount Errigal Hotel Thursday the 6th of October.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
When you hit a certain age, exercise can seem like all pain and no gain. I mean, no one wants to see yours truly wearing lycra. But keeping fit doesn't have to mean getting ripped. Simple things like bringing the dog for a walk.
Come on, boy, come on.
And taking the stairs more often can make a big difference. Work out what works for you. Get more tips at sportireland.ie/workout.
Are you interested in returning to education? ATU Donegal's Certificate in Access Studies for Higher Education is a free course available for adult learners, early school leavers, or those who have never had access to educational opportunities before and want to kickstart their third level education. The closing date is the 23rd of September. For more information, visit lyit.ie/access.
Okay, so if you're looking for something to do, what about getting out for a nice autumnal walk on Sunday? Jennifer Carr joins us on the programme now from the, she's Community Employment Administration Assistance with the Donegal branch of the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland. So tell us what's happening on Sunday, and good morning to you, Jennifer.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me. We have a fantastic memory walk this Sunday at 11:30 a.m. and it's in memory for anyone of a loved one or anyone that is living with dementia currently as well. And this walk will be happening at Drumbo Woods in Stranorther in County Donegal. And it's a community event. It's for family, friends. You can bring your pets. So we're very excited.
And it starts at 11:30. Is it at the car park there in Drumbo Woods, is it?
That's it, exactly. It's less than a 2-minute walk past St. Columba's School. And on the left-hand side will be our entrance, and we will be there to greet you on the day.
Lovely, and to outline what's going on. A little later on, if people want to afterwards, they're invited round to the premises, are they?
They are. We're having a tea as well. It's a meet and greet, get to know everybody, and also because we have only opened in May, this is a great excuse for everybody to see us.
It's a getting to know you sort of event as well as everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. We want to spread as much awareness as we can. Currently, at the moment, even in Donegal, over 2,451 people are living with dementia. And we want to help you in any way possible with support. So we have a number of different services like daycare centres. We have our drop-in here, training. We've also got cafes that will be reopening as well.
Yes, and of course, we look forward to that. And when you talk about the amount of people living with it, that's directly, of course, but there are family members with recent diagnoses and stuff, and they have a journey to go on themselves as well. And the Alzheimer's Society offers support to all.
Absolutely. We have dementia advisors based here as well in Donegal, and they are wonderful. They can help assist in what services that maybe need to be tailored for a certain family member that is going through that journey currently. And we are also here to help assist really in any way, because I'm sure, as you know yourself, every case by case is different. Every scenario is different for each person.
Okay, and it's a nice opportunity for people to get together. I'm reliably informed the weather's going to be nice. Dress appropriately. 11:30 is the meet-up point at the car park there at Drumbo Woods in Stranraer. It sounds like it's going to be a lovely morning. And there's a fundraising element to this as well, is there, Jennifer?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody can register online for the walk. The funds raised go to vital services that are ongoing currently in Donegal, and 100% of the donations come back to here in Donegal. And I can't stress that enough. I think it's so important for us to raise as much funds as we can to just help as many families and reach out to everyone.
All right, keep up the great work. We'll speak to you again in the future, I'm sure, and enjoy the walk. It sounds like it is going to be a lovely way to spend your Sunday morning. That is Jennifer Carr there, Community Employment Administration Assistant in Donegal for the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland. Okay, right. Crossfire in the BBC, it's another terrestrial one because not everyone has all the services sometimes that we refer to. So we've done Virgin Media and we've got...
we've scattered. I think we tend to scatter very well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is next Monday, next Tuesday, next Wednesday. I'm deliberately watching more UK-based things recently. I've watched another Dalgleish, which is brilliant. I've watched another Van de Vocht, which isn't brilliant. And I'm looking at things like Mallory Towers and stuff like that. And I'm going to start our All Creatures next week as well. I'm dying to see that. Next
how are you going to fit in reruns of
Monday.
Baywatch watching all of these current programmes?
Next Monday, BBC, the trailers for this look very, very good. And it's Keely Hawes, who starred in Line of Duty. He said, looking down on Bodyguard, apparently. I've never seen her in anything. So this will be my first time to see her. I know. I've never seen her before. So
all
this
the TV you watch, it's always
but
shocking
it's not,
what you haven't seen.
But it's very American and Canadian based, what I've always watched. But I'm course correcting. This trailer looks very, very good. It seems to be an English tourist who is abroad and seems to get caught up in some kind of terrorist incident in which everybody is running for their lives. That guy that I follow, David Brown, that I follow on Twitter, he's seen it and he said it's intense and it's going to be very, very good. He reckons it's going to be a good 3-hour thriller. So they're airing it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. I'm definitely going to watch it before next Friday. I'm looking forward to it for multiple reasons. Just I want to see this Keely Hawes that you've mentioned numerous times, and just the fact that I'm watching more UK stuff and I want to try. And I don't want to just watch murder mysteries.
Was Keely Hawes not in that show too where everyone got pregnant in the village?
Midwich Cuckoos, that was her most recent production.
She has
she's busy.
She's slightly one-dimensional from some of the stuff I've seen her.
Oh,
in.
really?
But she looks the same in all of them, if you know what I mean.
If she had like a fake nose on or something like that, would that be more...
No, it's hard to describe.
More the intervention of a higher power, like if you believe in higher power. She can't help the way she looks.
You know what I mean.
I know what
as you people say to the nuns.
Acting. I mean, in terms of acting,
yes.
it's just... she's always got the same eyeballs on.
Is this good?
She never changes her eyeballs.
She's considered to be now one of the big...
I didn't think she was very good in that.
She's tall.
At the moment. No.
It's terrible.
I didn't enjoy that thing where everyone got pregnant.
You didn't like Midwich Cuckoos?
I didn't think she was very good in it.
Oh my God!
Wow.
I thought Midge's cooked.
But then again, I never liked Sandra Bullock, and now I think Sandra Bullock's very good. So
she's amazing. Yeah, I'm not going to storm out because it's nearly 12 o'clock anyway, so there's no point storming out. But if you were to say that at 11:15,
Oh my God! If you
I
think
would.
he likes Saoirse Ronan, his Sandra Bullock.
Oh, and I
obsession
totally
is
fancy
like-
Sandra
I
Bullock.
like
That's a
Sandra
whole
Bullock's
different
now,
thing.
Bullocks.
But
Bullock.
Bullock. There's no S.
is
No
there
S.
any? Would you be interested in watching this now that you know that it's a thriller, that it's about an
Yeah,
ordinary person
yeah,
caught
yeah,
up
yeah,
in
yeah.
something? For 3 nights next week, I reckon it'll do well. I
All
also
right.
think it'll be a talking point. I bet you people will be talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
she's
listen.
usually in that stuff.
We'll see. Right. I'll watch it afterwards. Thank you so much for everything. You're not going back to Garth this weekend, Fionnuala. You're Garthed out.
No. Once I just like to see everybody once except for Take That, who I've seen 9 times. But
Hold on a second. Whoa. If
Big
it was
Genie.
11:15,
Big
I would
Genie,
storm
he
out.
said.
I would storm out if it was
They're so
11:15.
good. All their concerts are massive shows. Yes, it's a humongous.
You've what?
It's a humongous amount.
I-
All
Have
their
you seen
shows are really
Westlife?
different.
I used to
I have
respect
seen
They're
it.
home for Christmas.
No, I wouldn't. I saw them once years and years ago when my daughter was younger.
Okay.
I would.
Who's next on your list then? If
I'm
they're-
going to see Luke Combs.
Yes, of course, but we
Well,
might not all be alive then.
That's
Anything this
No,
century?
there's no. Well, as I said to you before, my friend of mine always had a thing that we would go and see people just in case.
How cheerful! Yeah.
Well, no, because we missed out on.
Yeah, but you've
The
missed in
Walrus
on
and
some of them. We'll talk about that another time. But some of the acts that you've seen are just unbelievable.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I mean yeah.
You know, pure legends.
Pavarotti, Barbra Streisand,
Whitney,
Eric Clapton,
you know,
Whitney Houston.
And there's a Whitney tribute show coming up on October 2nd in the Millennium in Derry.
Oh,
Where
wow.
he spoke to the performer who looks and sounds just like Whitney.
Oh wow, that'd be, her
it'd be
music is
interesting
amazing.
to
You
see
forget
for
even
someone
how.
who's seen her. It'd be interesting to see what your views on that.
Oh yeah.
Right, okay, Michael, have a lovely week. Enjoy
you as well.
Crossfire, and we'll hear what you think of it next Friday.
Excellent.
Thanks so much,
Great to
Michael
be here.
Letty,
Great to be
writer
here.
and blogger, and of course, Fionnuala Rabbit. Thank you so much as always, and we'll chat to you again next Friday. Thanks to everyone who watched and listened to the show over the course of the week and texted in or called in. We're back with you on Monday morning at 9. Have a great day. Stay tuned. John Breslin's up around the Northwest after the news at 12.
The 9 till noon show